Wrestling Omakase brings you a full-course meal of all of Japanese wrestling, men's and women's. Join me, a Japanese wrestling fan for over 20 years, along with a rotating cast of equally knowledgeable co-hosts, as we cover everything from New Japan and Stardom to Noah, All Japan, DDT, Tokyo Joshi, Mari Gold, Sendai Girls, Dragon Gate, GLEAT, Ice Ribbon, and even more stuff. If you're a fan of Japanese wrestling and you want coverage of the entire scene in one podcast, check us out right here on the Voice of Wrestling Podcasting Network each and every week. Get us wherever you get podcasts today.
TNA is the best wrestling in the whole world.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be an inspirational story if somebody with chlamydia won this event, huh?
Oh, Bob Backlund.
There's nothing there. Doesn't say anything.
It's Bob Backlund authorized.
Push it real good.
Adrenaline rush. Sorry guys. Adrenaline rush. Adrenaline rush. Adrenaline rush. Adrenaline rush.
Do it for us. What is that? What is that supposed to mean? Do it for us. You know, us, the black guys. What? Warrior. Feel free to kiss the winner.
Listen, not again. Not again. Not again. Ah!
This is BS. This sucks. I've lost my objectivity, and I don't give a damn.
Welcome, everybody, to You've Got to Be Kidding Me, episode number 56. We are a TNA history podcast that covers TNA 1 month at a time. On this episode, we are talking about the month that is January 2007, leading up to Final Resolution 2007. I'm Garrett Kidney. I'm joined by Liam Jones.
Hello.
Saying 2007, what a revolutionary push into a new year we've done.
It really feels like proper TNA. And feels 2007, you know, the good years when things felt right.
There is, I think, a really important cultural marker in this month of TNA. And that is opening up the Final Resolution 2007 pay-per-view. AJ Styles makes his entrance. He's wearing the long boys.
The long boys are here. It's a cultural shift, an identity shift.
Yeah, I think very meaningfully, it does kind of signal the end of the kind of early kind of growth phase of TNA. And now we're in the what someone called the heyday. This is like the beginning of the heyday, as like Spike TV is a meaningful television network that they're airing their show on.
Yeah. It's we're in the firm shift of like the proper identity of what you would associate with total non-stop action, at least up until now, I guess.
So before we talk more about TNA, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Yeah.
We're a little removed at this point from WrestleMania weekend.
Yes.
And how did you feel about wrestling coming out of watching like 7 shows that weekend? Probably more than 7.
I was just like, I don't know. I think most of the shows or whatever, and there wasn't a lot of great matches, but it was like enjoyable pro wrestling. Like it had a good like minimum level, but it didn't really hit any highlights. You know, stagnant, but not necessarily in a bad way, just in a way.
Okay, just a kind of a vibe state as opposed to a negative way.
Yeah, like there was nothing new or like shocking or like particularly interesting coming out of it, but like there was nothing like that made me lament the state of anything either. It was just kind of a continuation of where we're at.
That's kind of like I think the broader vibe about wrestling as a whole at the moment, isn't it?
I think it has been for like 5 years, to be fair.
Yeah, the kind of post-pandemic haze that we're kind of emerging from, that like the indie boom of the 2010s is gone. We had the like Bloodline era of WWE boom, which is also kind of gone. The AEW launch boom is gone, but now AEW has circled back to being good on its own merit. And the rest of wrestling is just kind of in a weird state where everyone's trying to work out who the fuck they are and who's going to be a star for the next decade, as opposed to who was a star for the last one.
I think we're just in like a bit of a holding pattern for the most part.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that works industry-wide, isn't it? How, like, every company is now kind of in a position where the old guard that did the business for the prior 20 years is fading away, and we're moving into kind of a new era where it's who the fuck's going to lead that era? We don't really know at the moment. There's some guys that are at the cusp of it, the forefront of it. But then, like, you watch WWE TV in which Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns are champion, and you're like, well, they're still looking for that new era, huh?
I feel like it's at least in the last sort of like 30 years, it's been an every 10-year thing. So like we should sort of be approaching that new era now, because like '05 is sort of when everything started kicking off with that generation, and then 2015 is when everything started kicking off with the last generation. So it's like now we're sort of in the period of where this generation should be kicking off. It's probably taking a little longer because wrestlers have longer careers now, which has left less turnover.
Yeah.
So I think we're going from a sort of a 10-year run to more of a 12 and a half, 13-year run, hopefully. Assuming anything changes at all and we don't just stay in this stagnant-ass state for, like, ever.
Because you do kind of need the old guard to get the fuck out of the way at some point, don't you? Which is a bit of a problem. Because, like, you could argue, Trick, Oba, and Braun are, like, WWE's next generation. And there's other guys like Jacob Fatu. But it's still the CM Punk and Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns show. So as long as it still remains their show, there's not going to be room for an Oba Femi, at least for a while.
I don't even mean particularly WWE, just like the industry as a whole.
But I was just using them as the example, where like New Japan was probably like the company that did the best job of like next man up until all of a sudden everyone either left or died physically. Everyone either fell apart physically or left for AEW, and then they were kind of fucked. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like this period in wrestling because it is very much the on the cusp period where you are like, well, who is going to be the guy? Who's going to step up? And like everyone's like, oh, it will this be this person? It won't be that person. Like the Shota Umino is a great example of a guy who might, who knows, take the long way around. And I think that's really interesting, as opposed to like a guy who's pushed as an ace and succeeds as an ace, which honestly doesn't happen that often. Usually, someone is pushed as an ace, they kind of hit a roadblock, a stumble, they fail for a while, and eventually find the thing that works for them. But we all expect it's like, oh, you have to be pushed and then get over, and then you are a champion. It's like we push people into the expectation that it has to happen immediately that way. Whereas when you look at nearly every wrestler who's ever been on top's career, with some exceptions, for the most part, there's been roadblocks and it's been a journey. So it makes this period very interesting, where you're like, well, who is going to be the guy? Who is going to be that guy to step up? Will it be the guy that's obviously being pushed right now? Or is it like some wild card, Ren Narita is going to say what the dog doing himself and catch on and take over the world, and it's going to be Ren's world?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm open to anything. I'm in a state of, I want to see new wrestlers that I haven't seen a whole lot. I want them to be doing interesting things, and ideally I would like crowds to start being more invested. That's the big three for the next sort of 5 years that I'm looking towards. I would like a more flushed out indie scene, but I've kind of given up on that dream since the last 5 years have been nothing.
Yeah, the last 5 years have been like a weird state, because like there's so many things about the current indie scene. The big one is it's a pond that's been overfished. I don't think there's any denying that. Or the moment somebody catches even the slightest bit of hype, like we just saw it with Ricky Sosa. The guy caught on very briefly on TikTok. Like he was like in the zeitgeist for a month or two, and snap, TNA jumps. Like anytime somebody catches on in the smallest bit. Will Cruz, another guy who should probably be on the indies for another 5 years, realistically, or working Japan for another 5 years before he jumps to NXT or somewhere in America. But it's just the arms race we're in, where someone has the smallest amount of potential, jump. That's just the nature of the indies at the moment. That is what it is. Like, not to say people losing their jobs is a good thing, but having a set of experienced wrestlers come back onto the indies from WWE at the moment, and the recent slate of releases will only help to give those guys young people to work, young guys experienced wrestlers to work with, which is, I think, one of the bigger detriments between people getting good and just existing in their state of young growth and mediocrity. Having experienced hands to wrestle helps, but yeah.
I think even more so than that, it's a matter of places. Like, it's, there is indie promotions, and some of them are doing good things, and some of them are drawing better crowds, but it's like, I don't know, there's no real spot happening where people are developing into fully fledged out wrestlers, and half of it is because they don't have the time to do it, but half of it is also the schedule. And I think that's the reason why you only truly see, especially like sort of Western wrestlers getting like to the level where they're like undeniably ready for TV is happening in like a New Japan, which can commit to them for multiple years and can push them, working 3 times a week. And, like that's like the one spot in the world that is still producing and developing talent at that level, especially like in the last 5 years. So I'm not too like optimistic about it, but I would love for that to be a big sort of industry-wide shift in the next 5 years or so. We'll see. I mean, eventually the bubble will burst in some capacity and something will be different, but it's just a matter of surviving until that next point, I guess.
Yeah, we do love being like, the way wrestling is the way it will be forever, and then 5 years it's completely different. So,
I mean, yeah, like fucking 6 years ago AEW formed, you know? It's like,
yeah,
and completely changed the entire pro wrestling world. And, you know, before then there was 2 top promotions in the Americas, or there was a Noah splitting from Old Japan. Like this, you know, once every sort of 8 years we get something interesting, and then it goes back to the stagnant state that it always is. So I know that I'm sounding like really down on it, but it's more just like I'm waiting for something. I want some like industry shifting thing. Maybe that's because I've been spoiled, like being able to be right at that perfect age for like the AEW breakthrough and how interesting that was. But I don't know, ever since then, there's like, you're just waiting for something. Doesn't need to be on that level, but just something to be like bubbling on the surface again.
Yeah, you hitting your teens and 20s during like the indie boom and the New Japan boom and the launch of AEW. That's a very exciting period to be in the formative years of your wrestling fan. Whereas like I hit that period in the mid 2000s and 2010ish, you know, when wrestling is like very much in the boo doldrums. So it's fun to think about like when did you hit that peak, and like Attitude Era kids would never shut up about, you know, wrestling was so hot when they were kids, and you would be mentioned in school, and Steve Austin is a national figure. But then if you grew up in 2003, it's like, well, you know, I watched the Bashams on SmackDown.
Yeah, because like, I mean, maybe that is just part of it. Is like, I will forever be chasing the high of, you know, getting into Japanese wrestling as New Japan is becoming the hottest promotion, or, you know, as that's beginning to wane, being there for the birth of the true American, like, number 2 in my lifetime. So it's like, but there will probably be something comparable to these things at some point.
You know what I would like? So we were watching the other night the Steve Corino Homicide feud recap. And I would like to see more of that stuff from non-major league companies. And maybe it's out there. Maybe I'm being ignorant, and maybe someone can point to me about some great stories that people are doing on smaller companies and smaller stages across the US.
I think that was always the problem with the GCW, is you felt like they have this like tremendous audience. They have the amount of like shows that like an ROH are running, you know, comparably like, you know, 5 shows a month or whatever. So even more than ROH for most of its run. But like, they weren't committed to trying to tell stories. They were committed to like sort of just being their own thing, which I guess like is, you know, it's their own thing. If it works, it was working. But I know they've gotten a little better about it. But you see them like give it a shot, and you're like, wow, that's cool. I wish there was more places that were able to do that.
Yeah, it's the thing I'll give the GCW shows over the WrestleMania weekend, where like most of their shows, even like the Clusterfuck, had a match that had a video package before it that had like a few shows build at least toward this stuff. Was it good or interesting? I don't know, but at least they're like trying that. At least they're like, they have some stories and they have stuff that's trying to peak on the biggest weekend of the year, and they didn't just like book Brody Lee Jr. against Joey Janela and just do the match for the sake of doing the match. They actually like tried to tell what seemed like a pretty solid little story to get into that match. So like, I just want to see more of that across the board, across all. I want the next like Chris Hero versus Eddie Kingston, you know. I want the next rivalry to bubble where these people wrestling all over the place and they hate each other, and they can't tell me how much they hate each other because it always bubbles over so much, instead of just like, hey, we're having a good match tonight, and then we're going to film a vlog together after the match.
Yeah, there's too much, you know, sportsmanship. Let's wrestle the match together type stuff going on.
You know, like, my hatred of handshakes.
Even like the promotion that like got like the biggest criticism for that, PWG, like they at least still had that like blood feuds and long-term stories going on throughout the whole thing.
Or anything else? We technically haven't done a show on the main feed for 5 months. So is there anything from the last 5 months you want to talk about? From Christmas, or we went to AEW Grand Slam in February?
Nah.
Cool. You can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/kiddingme or tnachad.com, where you can get our recent greatest wrestler ever list. We listed the definitive, between me and Liam, 100 wrestlers ever ranked Who was number 1? Who was number 76? You'll have to go find out. We actually might post that in the main feed in like a week or two. But you know what? Pretend I didn't say that. You really have to rush there right now and subscribe to listen to that.
And you know what else you can get at the Patreon?
What can you get?
You can get a code that gets you a shirt cheaper. What kind of shirt would you get, Garrett?
Wow, Liam, thank you for teeing me up like that. We have a brand new America's Most Wanted t-shirt in the store right now. You can check out the link in our description. As Liam said, if you go to the pin post on Patreon, you can get a discount code that saves you 10% on any merch you buy as well. This is a very important month in TNA history. As we mentioned, AJ Styles Long Boys, but also at the end of AMW. AMW are done, which we will talk about later in the episode.
Which is also kind of like part of that shift into what is more known for TNA, because like AMW is like, I don't want to say this is not in like a derogatory sense, but like a dirty little secret in TNA. Like they don't get the same amount of respect as like Motor City Machine Guns or even Beer Money, but like real ball knowers know, you know?
Yep. And it does, again, it's another one of those little signifiers that it's the end of the first phase of TNA. That, like, this tag team, which has been the defining tag team of this company for the 4.5 years up until this point, is done and dusted. Never to come back until 2022. But, yes, you can go to the store. You can check out the brand new America's Most Wanted shirt, as well as the America's Most Wanted poster as well for this episode, which are separate designs, by the way. So there's 2 separate designs. We're really splashing out for our merch. I said like a goal in my head, and we're like 1 shirt away from hitting the goal in my head when we launched the store. So go buy that shirt and break the goal I set in my head and get yourself an America's Most Wanted shirt.
Shout out Wicked Drawings. At Wicked Draws Stuff 1F on X the Everything fucking app.
And of course Shannon, who always does our posters. On the Patreon as well, coming up in the next couple weeks, we will be doing, because we ticked over, we mentioned we're in a new year, we've ticked into 2007, which means we will be doing our end of year awards and end of year draft for 2006. So those will be coming up in the next little while. Our Lucha Underground finale for season 1 also coming up. It's a real blockbuster era for the Patreon in the next couple weeks. Great time to jump on board. Patreon.com/kiddingme, TNAChad.com, as well as all the other stuff we've done, including the review of Ghost Ship.
And shout outs to Polymarket. Polymarket for...
You can predict how many times Garrett will say like on this show. Garrett's not at all rigging that poll.
Over under 700.
It is very much a Cork tick, never mind an English language tick. But yes, patreon.com/kiddingme, TNAChat.com, and check out the merch. That brings us to the month that is January 2007, building to Final Resolution 2007. We will start with the news. IGN.com has a 30-second video trailer on the first TNA video game set for release in 2008. It's a 3-year process to get the game finished and ready to market. From the wrestler side of the project development, Samoa Joe and AJ Styles were key consultants on the project.
The Kenny Omegas.
Listen, I'm going to read these quotes from this IGN interview, and it will sound very funny. It will make you think a lot about all the quotes that AEW had leading to the launch of their game. But this is from IGN. With Samoa Joe and AJ Styles working with Midway as consultants on the new TNA video game, it's only fitting that the first 2 characters to debut in a teaser trailer are the Phenomenal One and the Samoan Submission Machine. I haven't liked a wrestling game since the N64, Styles told me during a recent interview. So I'm going to make sure they get this right. And Samoa Joe feels the same. Quote, "When they told us we were getting a video game, we knew it was up to us to make sure it was good. The first day they came to talk to me and AJ, they knew we were adamant about the game being not just good, but special. And we came in with 3 to 4 pages of suggestions. Stuff that worked in past games, stuff that hasn't worked. And they were pretty damn amazed by the level of detail and some of the stuff we came up with. We're definitely pushing the next-gen envelope. We're a game that's going to run at 60 frames per second. We're going to pump up the action and pump up the violence like only Midway does. Midway has a history of stylized violent games, and TNA should have that same type of flair."
Fucking nerds.
Samoa Joe is like,
I need like 60 frames per second, and my refresh rate has to hit these levels.
Yes, it will be 1080p, or actually it's PS3, so it might be 720p.
Yeah, but you know what? It worked. It's a pretty good game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talk about it to death about, like, if it got the sequel, I think it would have been a fully fleshed out game, and it ultimately didn't. And what you got was like a kind of a fun proof of concept that didn't have the depth, which is, again, I think a little similar to the AEW game, but it is a shame.
Midway should do the next AEW game. Well, not Midway.
Like legit, because like NetherRealm are within the WBD family now.
Yeah, they're in the games department specifically.
Yeah, they're under the same the studio that made Mortal Kombat spun out of Midway with NetherRealm, and they're under the same corporate umbrella, under the same WBD umbrella as AEW. So there's a natural connection there. Apparently, they're working on Injustice 3 at the moment. I saw that leaked this week, but
that's exciting. I like the Injustice games.
This trailer, it is just like it's the Impact Zone. You see AJ Styles make his entrance. You see Samoa Joe make his entrance. You see a little bit of like their models, and then you kind of cut to the Midway logo.
AJ not in the gear that he will wear in the game.
I was about to mention that. How mad do you think the Midway team were that AJ Styles has worn bikers for 4 years of TNA? He has had consistent gear the entire time, and literally 2 weeks after they reveal his video game model, he's like, "Hey guys, I'm switching to long boys."
Well, like, isn't like the gear that he wears in the game is gear that like showed up in the game before he wore it on TV, isn't it?
I'm not sure. It's the red and black tights he has in the game,
it's the red
right?
ones. Yeah, but like the ones he debuted weren't the red ones on Final Resolution.
No. So he definitely wears them before the game comes out, but
Okay.
it's not
but, like,
that
they might have already scanned them, even though he hasn't worn them yet.
But yeah, it is funny that he had a signature look, and they put that in the game, and then
Honestly, it's for the better
wearing it.
because it was the tag gear, so it would make even less sense, you know?
But yes, this is December 2006, so it's fun to see the first look. That trailer's still on the IGN YouTube. It's linked to the show notes as well.
So the game comes out in like a year?
2 years. It comes out in, I think, September 2008.
Okay, which makes sense because, like, you know, there's a lot of things that are going to change in that time. Although Joe's pretty much Joe from the beginning.
Yeah, I compared it. Yeah, I was looking at the final model, and I was like, oh yeah, they pretty much just nailed that one, and that's Joe. Thankfully, he didn't end up Nation of Violence Samoa Joe with the face tattoo in the game.
Close. But it's like, yeah, it's funny to think about, like, you know, the roster that releases with their game, and it's like Motor City Machine Guns fully in Motor City Machine Guns at that point. But it's like we haven't begun that yet.
Yeah, I wonder what felt like gear and stuff would have been locked in like late 07. It feels
Probably.
like to me in terms of like when they finally like this is the version that's going to end up in the game. Late last week, Conan went in for surgery on his badly injured hip, but doctors found kidney problems that could have been life-threatening had they gone through with the hip surgery. Conan is now on kidney dialysis, and he issued an official statement on his health through his MySpace page on Monday night.
Yeah.
Quote from Conan: "I was supposed to get hip replacement surgery last week in Mexico, and when they went to operate, they discovered my kidneys were badly damaged. It could have been that they were bruised or that I had an infection and my immune system did not recognize it and let it attack my kidneys." Conan said he is currently going through dialysis to clean out the infection in his kidney to prepare him for hip surgery. He said the next issue is that he needs a kidney transplant. Quote, "I am on dialysis to clean out the blood, and so I can go back next week and get my hip replacement surgery, and my kidneys can be strong enough to get through the operation. But now I have another problem. I need a kidney transplant." Conan asked anyone with type O positive blood to help as well. I know that like this is what really starts the deterioration of Conan's relations with TNA in particular. Because he felt, I wasn't sure, is it the hip replacement or the kidney transplant that he wanted them to pay for? But either way, they're paying for neither. So he's not getting the financial support from TNA. And like, there's, I think a lame person out there might be thinking, oh, well, if he didn't hurt it in TNA, they shouldn't pay for it. To which I would respond, the Carters have a lot of fucking money.
And to which I would respond, I hope you never need anything ever.
Yeah.
And like would like help with that because you know, can't like for bad and for good about Tony Khan, that motherfucker pays for shit.
Yep. And the skimp on, like, I don't know, I'm sure it is expensive, but also Bob Carter has so much fucking money.
Yeah.
he can help his talent out when they need it. Come on.
Conan obviously like a controversial figure throughout the years, but you know, He doesn't deserve the amount of fucking shit he's gone through as well.
Yeah, tough time.
So, well wishes to Conan even into the modern era.
Yeah. You will notice he is written off TV on, I think, the Go Home Impact before Final Resolution, and then he's not on Final Resolution. So that's obviously why. The February 12th edition
Sorry,
of
I
Raw...
wasn't laughing at the last thing. I was laughing because I read what was coming up next. I don't want that to be misconstrued in any way.
The February 12th edition of WWE Raw will be preempted from the USA Network due to the annual USA Network coverage of the Westminster Dog Show. Mm-hmm. Sci-Fi cannot pick it up because it has a special marathon scheduled. As a result, Raw will air Thursday, February 15th, 1 hour of which will go up against TNA Impact.
Thursday War Games!
The Thursday Night War.
Thursday Night War, what is it, 2026?
Hey! TNA and Spike TV are considering airing a special edition of Impact on Monday, February 12th in Raw's absence.
I'm looking at the winner of the 2007 Westminster Dog Show. Named Diamond Jim?
Diamond Jim?
Diamond Jim is a beast name.
Mm.
Shout out to Diamond Jim. He is a English Springer Spaniel.
It's a good dog.
Specifically known as Che Felicity's Diamond Jim, I think is his full name.
Mm.
Which is...
Are you sure he's the most recent winner?
No, 2007.
Oh, sorry. Oh, you were looking at this one. Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at 07.
Because I was like, this dog has a Wikipedia page, and this dog is dead.
No, he seems a lovable lass.
Shout out to all. Oh, he's won 51 Best in Show awards. That's
damn. He's the goat. Right, is he the goat? Is he the fucking? Is he the Michael Jordan of the dog shows? If you're locked in on dog shows, tell us who the goat is.
Oh, this is an even bigger one for the 2007 Westminster Dog Show. That was his 51st Best in Show victory and his last because he retired after it.
Fucking out on top too. You gotta fucking respect it.
Yeah.
And then do you think he feels anything at that point?
Well, you see, he retired to focus on his work as a certified therapy dog.
Oh my god, damn! Che Felicity's Diamond Jim is the goat.
Yeah, this is the greatest. Oh yeah, what a great dog! As I now look at the pictures,
51 wins in 6 years. Who else has that kind of record? All of your goats aren't shit compared to Che Felicity's Diamond Jim, also known as James.
Oh, James, very formal.
I'm just saying, no one else has that kind of record.
True. So yes, TNA will go head-to-head with Raw.
Fair.
For the first time. And I do like that they're like, Raw's not going to be airing that Monday, so let's fucking air some bullshit in the Raw time slot. Spike TV has offered TNA a 2-hour show, but right now the holdup is over money. It's pretty well inevitable it will happen. Spike wants a multi-year exclusive commitment. It may be 3 years, but Dave doesn't have that confirmed. TNA wants more money out of the deal. TNA's specific goal and predictions are that they will be able to build up a 1.4 rating and then use the higher rating to get a higher offer from Spike. Just through natural television patterns, wrestling ratings on cable usually do better in the spring and summer when the networks are in reruns and wrestling remains first run. TNA should do better in January because in 41 of its 92 million homes, it has NFL competition, even though Thursday NFL isn't part of our culture like Monday and Sunday. Oh, Dave, how that will change. I love the idea. It's like, Thursday night football is not that big a deal.
Nah, people don't really give a shit about that.
TNA management decided
Sorry, again, just a great first line.
TNA management decided to stop paying for wrestlers' hotel rooms. They announced the decision at the last tapings, and it has caused outrage among wrestlers, mostly private. BG James was among those who spoke out. He called Jeff Jarrett, Dixie Carter, and Terry Taylor and either quit or threatened to quit. Apparently, nobody in management took him seriously because he's done that before. This decision was a cost-cutting measure, saving the company about $120 per wrestler per 2 nights they usually stay in Orlando. Wrestlers are required to fly in a day early, so flight delays are less likely to cause a car disruption. For wrestlers who are being paid $300, they will now have to pay out of pocket for hotel rooms, which run with tax about $100 to $120 a night. They can stay at a cheaper hotel and shuttle to the theme park, but it's apt to take a bite out of their out of their payday. It's like if you're getting paid $300 and you have to get 2 nights hotel, which means you're really only being paid $100.
Yeah, no, that's ass.
It's not great. It's not great at all, is it?
No.
And like realistically, there's not too many people who are probably non-local who are being paid that low, but there's probably a couple.
Yeah, and you really don't want to be in that position anyway.
And it's just such like bullshit that the company can be like, oh yeah, you need to come to work and we're going to treat you as independent contractors in every sense that it's advantageous to us, but not in a way that's in any way advantageous to you. We will not pay for your flights, we will not pay for your hotel, but also you do not have the freedom to work where you want to work. Yeah, very stingy. I think they overturned this at some point.
That's good.
But I think it's like years down the line.
Yeah, well, it's expected. I mean, it's part of the deal at this point in time. And for some companies to this day.
Yeah, some companies, like WWE to this day, right, still don't pay for the accommodation of their talent. They pay for flights, but they don't pay for accommodation.
Yeah. Well, it's always the thing is like whenever like they get interviewed and people ask them about it, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah, they're like, oh, so you know, you how's your travel work? And they're like, oh, we book our own travel. It's like, you book your own travel, and then it's like, you pay for your own travel.
Yeah.
Oh, wrestling! What a fucking shoddy business we can be.
Yeah.
TNA agents Jerry Lynn, Simon Diamond, and Shane Douglas were not used at the last TV taping. Lynn was there to shoot his angle, but not to work as an agent, because they were being punished for not turning in their written reports by the previous Wednesday as requested. There was also a note in the Observer that apparently they were being harsh enough on the wrestlers.
Oh.
They get paid on a per-show basis, so it saved TNA some money.
I wonder if that was that was part of the punishment they were thinking of. You think it was like, oh, this is how we gotta like... We have to punish them, or do you think it was, we get to not pay them for tapings?
I think more the latter than the former, to be honest. But this is also the last taping before Christmas, which seems like especially harsh.
Come on, man.
Your fucking last payday before Christmas taken away? Really trying to win over morale here in 2006 TNA. More from backstage as the taping went a little smoother than usual, perhaps because those filling in, Terry Taylor, Dutch Mantel, and Jeff Jarrett, wanted to send a message to the agents. Jarrett had been outspoken about the work of the agents not being up to his expectations lately. D'Amore, who was tight with Jarrett and often gets hotel rooms right next to him, was not among the agents being punished.
What a weird little interlude to be thrown in there.
Yeah, it's like, oh, but Jarrett's boy D'Amore, he didn't get punished like the rest of them. Maybe he turned in his reports on time. Do you ever think about that?
Did we consider that? Maybe he was doing his effing job.
Maybe Scott has no problem telling wrestlers how bad they are.
That I believe.
People backstage had to rub their eyes to see if they were seeing clearly as Jim Cornette was calmly discussing wrestling matters with Vince Russo backstage. Cornette had vowed, including a long, scene-creating rage at the hotel bar after Bound for Glory, that he could not stand Russo and would not work with him. Since then, he has been convinced by people whom he respects that his anger at Russo is misguided or at least overblown, that he's a good guy, and he should try to make the best of the situation rather than work against it. The one thing that Cornette and Russo have said to have in common is that that can't be said about most others with political power or ambitions in TNA, is that they both want what's best for TNA. They might have totally opposite ideas of what that means, but neither sees the other as scheming for power or being two-faced or backstabbing. And in the current TNA environment, that had made strange bedfellows. A number of people who like both are happy to see Cornette step up and be professional and courteous toward Russo.
I really like the idea as like, the one thing that unifies them is job security.
Yeah.
These guys would like to keep getting paid for their work.
And they would not like to be schemed out by somebody named Jarrett.
Or each other.
They are united against scheming against each other.
Yeah.
Cornette helps produce a lot of the interview segments and attends the production meetings. Dave was told that the production meetings are now more entertaining than most wrestling TV shows. Before the shows, Mike Tenay presents Russo's scripts to everyone involved in production. Dave also noted that Mike Tenay seems to be more involved in creative again at this point as well. Cornette actually sits only a few seats over from Russo, usually with Don West and Tenay in between. The highlights are Cornette openly challenging any segment that he's in on things that don't make sense. Everyone bites their tongue because Russo is described as taking it, but appear to be bottling everything up inside.
You know what the interesting thing about these two is? It's like, if they could work cohesively, they'd probably be a great duo.
They're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, that's what's always been interesting about those two, you know? Is like, that they are both sort of, you know, they are dark reflections of each other, you know?
They are very much the exact same personality type. It's the reason both are fucking still podcast men in 2026.
Ew, who would be that?
I know, who would? But like, they're the same dude. They just liked different wrestling growing up.
Yeah.
And I guess one doesn't like wrestling at all. I guess the other also doesn't like wrestling at all for most of the time.
Yeah, well.
Russo is being told constantly internally the same thing we've been saying, that he's writing far too much for a 1 hour show and they have to edit like crazy to make the show fit. Plus, nobody gets more than a few minutes in the ring. Russo's response has been to continue to do the same thing.
Just slow it down just 10%, man. And just, you can fit so much more over the 4 weeks.
These shows are insane. I cannot stress how insane these shows are. How many things happen per show. How many different segments are in the show. The easy way is to just go through the show notes and just count the number of segments in each 1 hour impact. And there's always 20 to 30 different bullet points of things.
The feeling is you watch these shows and we're watching them for the podcast. I look at my phone for 2 seconds. I look up and it's 3 segments. I'm like, what the fuck? How has this happened?
Yeah, you just moved on and you're like, fuck, well, I gotta rewind and work out what the fuck happened there.
Yeah, especially finishes and matches, because you'll be watching a match and it's cruising, it's whatever. You look down, check Twitter or something, then you look back up and you're like, oh, the match has ended and we're already in an in-ring segment with Sting.
Yeah, you have the comfort zone of having watched modern wrestling where opening bell means they're doing some fucking lockup shit.
Yeah, you can chill for a bit, you can half pay attention, then when you start feeling things grooving, you're like, okay, let's go.
No, opening bell means the match will be over in 90 seconds.
It's honestly pretty impressive. It's impressive to be able to get that much amount of stuff locked in.
There is a TV main event this month that is Kurt Angle and Rhino versus AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, in which the actual action they show in the ring is less than 2 minutes.
Wow, what is this, WrestleMania?
Hey, no, it wasn't sponsored by Dude Wipes.
Shoutouts, Dude Wipes.
Jeff Jarrett has been talking with Bob Sapp about doing a program with Angle in a so-called shoot fight cage match for the next program after Joe. The original choice was Daniel Puder, but that fell apart after apparently over an embarrassingly low money offer, to which I would say TNA are based, and he's not worth any money above what they offered him. If that's the mentality, how do you expect to get Sapp, who turned down $1 million per year from Vince McMahon and isn't going to come for anywhere less than 10 times what it would take to get Puder?
Because he's at least somewhat of a star.
He is a name and he is interesting.
Yeah. I thought not really a name in America.
I feel like maybe it's just because I read wrestling magazines during this period and every month would have a Bob Sapp update about whether TNA or WWE wanted him. So in my head, there's a mythicalness to Bob Sapp actually wrestling in America that never actually happened. So maybe I'm over-indexing that, but I feel like there would be an intrigue to Bob Sapp.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Regarding Kurt Angle versus Bob Sapp as a program, the latest is that TNA has backed off after receiving a legal letter from K1. K1 Sadaharu Tanagawa sent letters to WWE, which is really the final blow that killed the WWE talks, Pride, and every major wrestling and fighting organization, claiming they have Sapp under contract until September and want the promotions to go through them to book him so they can take a cut.
Interesting. Sapp is a really interesting guy.
Yeah, what a weird freak he is, huh?
Yeah. Steroids are awesome.
Is Bob Sapp still alive?
I think so. Let me double check. I would say he... yeah.
Because I don't think he's old, but to go back to the steroids are awesome part.
He's 52.
Yeah, that feels about right in my head.
Yeah, no, he's alive.
Kurt Angle, Joe Rogan, and Dana White were all presenters at the Video Game Awards, which aired on...
I have to find the Video Game Awards again.
Aired on
This is a real
December
throwback
13th.
to... I'm glad that this is our return podcast. This is a real fucking throwback to bits past.
Yes, we have the dogs. We have the Video Game Awards. Yes, they were the hosts. These were I'm pretty sure Keeley was involved the whole time, wasn't he?
Is this 2006 or 2007?
This would be 2006. This would be December 2006.
All right. We got so many categories.
What won the Video Game Awards?
Give me a second. I'm getting there.
What won the 2006 Keeleys?
Character of the Year.
Yes.
Jack Sparrow.
Whoa, okay.
Breakthrough Performance. Rosario Dawson as Tina in Mark Echo's Getting Up, Contents Under Pressure.
I have no idea what that is.
The Critics' Choice Award.
Madden.
And these are your contenders. Wii Sports.
Ooh.
Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas.
Sure.
The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess.
That feels like a frontrunner.
Medieval 2 Total War.
What?
And Resistance, Fall of Man.
I'm going to say Zelda.
Correct, 1 for 1.
Last year's Game of the Year was Madden, by the way. In
Yes, I
2005,
remember this.
it was Madden, one Game of the Year.
Best wireless game.
Yes.
Super KO Boxing. Tower Blocks. Diner Dash.
Okay.
Or SWAT Force.
So wireless game just means mobile game, right?
I'm assuming so.
Diner Dash.
Incorrect, SWAT Force.
Oh, of course. How did I not remember SWAT Force?
Best PC game. Half-Life 2, Episode 1.
Yes, that.
Company of Heroes. Battlefield 2142. Star Wars Empire at War. And The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
Oh, you know what? I was going to just similarly give it to Half-Life, but you throw Oblivion in there. That's a curveball. I'll say Oblivion.
Company of Heroes.
No. Fuck Half-Life. Fuck fucking Oblivion. Some bullshit wins.
Best RPG.
Final Fantasy 12.
Final Fantasy 12. Kingdom Hearts 2.
Ooh.
Valkyrie Profile 2 Samaria. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
We know they don't like Oblivion. And Final Fantasy 12, I accurately knew the release year of that, so pat myself on the back. I'm going to say Final Fantasy 12.
The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
Fuck!
Breakthrough Technology. The PlayStation 3, the Nintendo DS Lite.
The Wii.
The Wii.
Of course it's the Wii.
Or Electroplankton.
Oh, a game for the DS is also nominated? The Wii.
Correct.
Yeah.
Best multiplayer game. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Double Agent. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. Metal Gear Solid 3 Substance. Gears of War. Or Company of Heroes.
No, but that's 3 separate Tom Clancy games that have been mentioned so far, by the way. Metal Gear.
Gears of War.
Sure. People like that. That's fine. That's fine.
Best handheld game.
Separate from best wireless game.
You will just give out categories as we get to the big ones. Best handheld game. What do you think won?
2006, New Super Mario Bros. DS.
Correct.
Fuck.
Best graphics.
Company of Heroes.
Gears of War.
Yeah, okay.
Best military game.
Company of Heroes.
Correct. Best shooter.
Company of Heroes.
Gears of War.
Fuck.
Best action game.
Gears of War.
Dead Rising.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Best fighting game. And this didn't win, but God Hand was nominated, and that's fucking awesome.
Street Fighter 4.
Street Fighter Alpha Anthology lost to Mortal Kombat Armageddon.
Shout out Midway.
Most addictive game.
Yeah. It's obviously going to be Wii Sports.
Oblivion.
Okay.
Best driving game.
Yeah.
Burnout Revenge. Best original score.
Oblivion.
Correct. Best soundtrack.
I guess licensed music. So, what would have licensed music? I don't know.
Guitar Hero 2.
Oh, of course. What else could it have been?
Best song.
The Beatles, Yesterday.
Lights and Sounds by Yellowcard for Burnout Revenge.
Okay.
Best cast. And let me read off the categories for this one, or the contenders. The Godfather of the Game.
Ooh.
Scarface, The World Is Yours. Saint Rose, or The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, or Family Guy video game.
I'm going to go for Family Guy.
Of course it was.
Was it actually?
Yes.
Ah.
Best supporting female performance.
Okay.
Rachel Leigh Cook as Tifa Lockhart in Kingdom Hearts 2. Alicia Cuthberg as Kim Bauer in 24 The Game.
Yeah.
Brittany Murphy as Karen Light in Mark Echo's Getting Up, Contents Under Pressure. Mila Kunis as Meg Griffin in the Family Guy video game. Or Linda Carter as the female Nord/female Orcs in the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
It's so funny that they're like, best performance supporting by an actress in a video game. Meg from Family Guy.
Yep.
I'm going to say she won too.
No. Rachel Leigh Cook as Tifa Lockhart won.
I was trying to think of how much Tifa does in Kingdom Hearts, and I don't think it's a lot.
Best performance by a human female.
Sorry.
That's the category.
I guess they do have Cyber Babe of the Year. Do they still have Cyber Babe of the Year?
We will find out, won't we? Vida Guerrera as Femme Fatale in Scarface, The World Is Yours one.
Okay.
Best supporting male performance. You have Seth Green as Chris Griffin, James Woods as George Sheffield, James Caan as Sonny Corleone, Michael Phillip Thomas as Lance Vance in GTA, or James Gandolfini as Tony Soprano.
Surely James Gandolfini.
You fucking A-right, he did.
It would be so funny if he lost to Chris from Family Guy, though.
Best performance by a human male.
Shout out human males.
Seth MacFarlane as Peter, Stewie, and Brian Griffin.
That's a lot of roles.
Jerry Rosenthal as Jimmy Hopkins in Bully. Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean, The Legend of Jack Sparrow. Patrick Stewart as Emperor Uriel Septim in The Elder Scrolls Oblivion. And Kiefer Sutherland as Jack Bauer in 24 The Game.
I'm going to go Big Keef.
Big Patrick Stewart.
Ooh.
Best game based on a movie or TV show.
24 The Game.
Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Sports game, who gives a fuck? Best individual sports game, who gives a fuck? We're here for the real one. Cyber Vixen of the Year.
Oh, it's Cyber Vixen, of course.
Lara Croft from Tomb Raider's Legend. Alex Vance from Half-Life 2, Episode 1. Princess Peach from Super Mario Bros. And Richter from Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Double Agent. Or Jen from Prey.
I'm going to go Princess Peach.
She did not win Cyber Vixen of the Year.
No!
Alex Vance from Half-Life 2, Episode 1.
Shout out Half-Life Alex.
Studio of the Year.
Midway Games.
Not nominated.
No!
Harmonix for Guitar Hero. Bethesda Game Studios for The Elder Scrolls. Epic Games for Gears of War. Relic Entertainment for Company of Heroes. Or Clover Studio for Okami.
I'll say Bethesda.
Epic Games, Gears of War.
Epic always getting all the awards.
Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Gears of War. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Guitar Hero 2.
Yeah.
Okami. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter.
Okami.
And the Game of the Year goes to The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
How could I have seen this coming?
Wait, there's no Cyber Vixen next year?
Oh, fucking Woke finally wins.
Woke took away Cyber Vixen from us all. Wait, in 2007's awards, they have the world video game premiere of TNA Impact.
Well, that's a lie. We just watched it.
Well, this is the world premiere.
Angle went crazy, tearing off his shirt on stage. Nobody knew what to make of it, but he was trying to do something for attention. Backstage, and this was not on the show, Angle was telling people that he was going to face Couture, Ortiz, or Liddell in a match this year.
Cool.
TNA signed a new TV deal in the UK with Bravo 2 to air Impact on
Bravo
Saturday nights,
and Bravo 2 to watch Impact, innit?
leaving the wrestling channel. Episodes are expected to be first run editions and not delayed episodes from months earlier, as was the case in the past in European markets. Pay-per-views will then air on Wednesdays on a 3-day delay.
3-year delay.
3-year delay would be quite crazy. So this is one of the two kind of major channels that TNA would be on. I would have watched TNA regularly on Bravo, and they would, of course, move to Challenge after that.
I know Challenge well. I watched many illegal rips of TNA on Challenge.
Yeah, when I first got the equivalent of cable TV, Sky TV, when I first graduated from having 4 television channels, the first thing we watched was just like Challenge. We watched game shows all day. We had access to a whole world of television, and we were like, what if we watch episodes of Fort Boyard?
What words did you just say in my direction?
Oh, we should watch some classic game shows.
I really like game shows like that.
TNA sent out a press release last Wednesday afternoon stating that clips of the Brzezinski-Eckstein brawl from the Turning Point pay-per-view
From the Brzezinski-Eckstein brawl.
Yes, would be airing on CNN Headline throughout the evening. The clips were brief highlights with the physical encounter from the last pay-per-view involving the 2 MLB players. Media outlets in St. Louis and Chicago covered the brawl with articles running in 2 major daily newspapers, the Chicago Sun-Times and the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. They were also on ESPN's Cold Pizza on Thursday to discuss their altercation at the Turning Point pay-per-view and the media attention given to the incident.
Eckstein.
Hermie Sadler's UWF promotion will be dropping TNA from the name it uses to promote house shows. UWF made the announcement on its website. We will not be running TNA house shows in 2007, but we will still be using the majority of TNA talent. This is better for both us and TNA, as TNA needs to start running their own house show dates, which they will do sometime in 2007, and it will enable us to bring our fans the best of both worlds, meaning we can offer TNA talent, but also many other wrestling stars from other organizations. The promotion's first shows in 2007 will be February 2nd and 3rd in North Carolina. So all those UWF TNA shows that you can find footage of, this is the end of them as TNA decided to go into their own direction for house shows. Former TNA headliner Monty Brown made his WWE debut on the ECW television show. He was introduced as Marcus Corvon, and he defeated Cassidy Riley.
It's going down, 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 down.
They wanted to make him feel as comfortable as possible, so they had him do what he did like 6 times in TNA.
Yeah.
Squash Cassidy Riley.
He's really developed.
Brown said he came here to mark his territory and destroy and dismantle anything put in his path. He said everyone knows he's Marcus Corvon, the alpha male.
It's really funny that they were like, no, like, actual developmental.
Yeah, straight. Well, I guess ECW is like a...
Yeah, but like, it's pseudo, but like, it is still, you know, TV. It isn't straight up just going to OVW or whatever.
Yeah, he's not like slumming it. I guess they did give him some credit that he has been on television for 2 years. He understood where the hard camera was, believe it or not. TNA, its probably biggest crowd in history, about 5,000 fans in an 8,000 seat arena in Lisbon, Portugal on January 5th. It's the same city where WWE recently blew the house down last month. Compared to the SmackDown brand house show, TNA had far better wrestling, but nowhere near the atmosphere. There's a very long paragraph from Dave here if you want to look at the show notes about everything that happened on the show. The show was main evented by Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe. Notable for an IPW 4-way featuring Johnny Storm, Jody Fleisch, Spud, and Pac.
Oh, the man that gravity forgot?
Making his only TNA appearances on house shows in Portugal.
There was also smart fans in the crowd that were like, Curry Man.
Yes, they did know Christopher Daniels was Curry Man. Abyss Pin Christian, 3D was doing some bullshit against VKM. It's a TNA house show. But yes, 5,000 fans showing up to see TNA in Portugal.
I guess they should move to Portugal.
Yeah, never mind the rest of it. They should move to Portugal. That should have been the 2007 talking point. The second night in Oporto drew 3,000 fans, but the crowd was a lot more into it because WWE did come to that city, so it was their first US show. So it was a treat to the folks in Porto. And the TNA contacted Sun Times, which was the major outlet for the Explosion show, and told them in early December they would no longer be supplying tapes after the end of the year. The contract expired, and Dave's not sure of the reason. Sun Sports was the show's only outlet in the US. They are going to continue producing the show as it costs little money to put together, and it is profitable for the company because they sell it internationally. They have been continuing to send tapes of Explosion to the Fight Network in Canada.
Wait a minute.
Who would someday come to own TNA Wrestling.
That's fun.
Well, the Fight Network wasn't owned by Anthem at this point, I don't think. So they're separate entities. But yes, Anthem would buy Fight, and then Anthem would buy TNA, because TNA did very well on Fight Network. It was their most watched show.
I wonder if like they're trying to like pitch Explosion to Spike.
Yeah, I would imagine
as,
so.
Like, as part of like them trying to renegotiate their to get more money. They're like, well, we'll give you an extra hour of content or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, especially as they're currently in those negotiations for the second hour and potentially signing a new long-term contract with them. I'd imagine they were like, let's keep Explosion open as an option that we can say, look, they're already producing it, so it's not going to cost them any money to give to Spike. And they can be like, we have this extra hour that you can throw on a fucking Sunday morning at 11 a.m. if you want, you know? That's technically first run and does have one wrestling match on it.
Yeah.
As Explosion does continue to run in that way to this very day. Other than the period where it was killed for BTI, which I didn't like. It was fucking Explosion has been running on as a TNA show since 2002, and you got rid of it for BTI?
I mean, yeah. I don't know. It doesn't feel right to not have an Explosion.
Yeah. You will watch your Mr. Elegance match this weekend. Be happy. You will enjoy Mr. Elegance.
I mean, I won't, but I'm sure some people will.
And that is the news.
The news.
That brings us to broad topics, starting with the NWA World Title program between Sting, Christian Cage, and the Monster Abyss, a retreat of last month's NWA World Title program.
So good last month, we should just do it again.
we didn't find out what the secret was, so we have to continue to tease the secret for a whole other month.
You know, that's the key. The secret that everyone is really invested in.
To be fair, that is mostly how WWE book television. There's just like mystery. They don't even like tease the mystery. They just like say the word mystery and expect people to care.
And like, at least the one thing I will give TNA here is I think like they know what they're doing at least, or have an idea. They're very just like, fuck it, mystery. We'll work out what the payoff is eventually.
Our fans need jangling keys. Mystery it is.
Yeah.
That brings us to the December 14th episode of Impact, in which Ron Killings faces Abyss in a non-title match between the current NWA World Champion and a former two-time NWA World Champion.
Abyss, Ron Killings getting the Abyss rebound pay-per-view match.
Which is funny because Abyss won on the pay-per-view, but not convincingly enough.
I think they just like to... Well, yeah, because A, it wasn't convincing. But like, B, I think they just like to restart their pay-per-view cycle with Abyss killing someone.
They do it a lot. They do like Abyss having a little squash on like the first show after a pay-per-view. And like this isn't even a squash. It is kind of a competitive match. And it needs
as
a
it
distraction.
Should be.
Yeah. So, like you say, as it should be. Like it is a competitive match. They have like as competitive as you can have a probably 4-minute match on TV. But they do not treat Ron with the gravitas of a two-time NWA champion at this point at all, do they?
No, but on the bright side, like, I don't know, it's weird to say, but like, it's a TV match, so at least they didn't beat him clean.
That's true. So Ron hits a nice dive on Abyss as Sting watches on from the rafters as he's still keeping an eye on his pal Abyss.
He fucking loves the rafters.
What do you think is it just vantage point?
I think he's perching like a crow.
He doesn't go anywhere like a scorpion though. Yeah. It's not like you find Sting also in a pit,
like buried underneath stuff as a scorpion.
Yeah, we need to keep a monitoring eye on this with Sting. If he's ever emerging from underneath some kind of pit or hole or sand, then we know he's embracing his scorpion side.
I don't know.
Killings gets distracted chasing Mitchell and walks right into a black hole slam for the defeat. Later in the show, Letitia is backstage with Christian, and Christian is being very mean to Letitia.
Yeah, he hates this woman.
He says, "Shut your mouth, you dirty little trick," to her. And I'm like, bro, that's fundamentally inappropriate workplace behavior.
I mean, it's Christian Cage. That's kind of his thing.
Yeah, he's not a very nice man.
No, like especially when it comes to workplace relations and saying inappropriate things.
He was referring to Abyss as the R word just last month.
But yeah, and also to this day, he's bringing up his co-workers' dead relatives every 3 seconds.
That's true, and he does want to bang most of their mothers.
Exactly. This is him.
HR needed to intervene much earlier, is what we're learning. He threatens to do to her what Angle just did to Don West, which we'll get to in a minute. And they're going to reveal Abyss's secret if he doesn't get a title shot. There's 2 more parts. This segment is probably 90 seconds long. There's 2 more notes for 2 different stories that we'll get to coming out of this one backstage promo, because that's the way this show works now.
Yeah. If it gets like too chaotic, we might just have to run them down show by show.
It might make more, because I was like doing the notes last night. I was finishing the notes because I had all the notes done and I just had to color code them because we color code them to find all the.
And it did take you way longer than I thought.
It took me 30 minutes just to go through the shows and color code the stories for broad topics. 30 whole minutes just highlighting and coloring. Later in that show, Christian, at the end of the show, comes out. He's going to expose the secret, but Abyss's music hits. Abyss brawls with Tomko for a while, clears the ring. Christian tries to attack from behind, but gets press slammed. Tomko and Christian eventually get the better of Abyss. Referees separate them, but then Abyss starts attacking the referees. Shock treatments Rudy Charles. Black hole slams Andrew Thomas, which are big bumps to take for referees, by the way.
Well, you can't be a referee if you don't know how to take the bumps. That's how it works.
That's true. Jim Cornette comes out and tries to calm the situation, but Abyss goozles him. Lights out. Sting appears. Sting says, "Don't do it to Cornette. Do it to Mitchell." And Abyss is like, all right. Grabs Mitchell, but eventually gets distracted when he realizes Sting is leaving with his NWA World Title. And this upsets him greatly.
Which is a fatal flaw in Sting's plan here. Like, if he just wasn't a selfish bitch... and He would have probably got like the thing that he's like going to fight for the next 4 weeks to happen now.
It is a fundamental contradiction in this story in that Sting is like this greedy, horrible Mitchell is out to get you. He's abusing you, he's exploiting you, and I am the decent, honorable man who's trying to set you free. Meanwhile, I do want your NWA title.
But don't like think about that too much.
Yeah, don't think too hard about the fact that it's to skip forward to the pay-per-view, which is an elimination match. The man who eliminates Abyss from that match is Sting. Which is a bit of a jerkish thing to do.
Yeah, I don't think Sting's like... I mean, maybe this is a Vince Russo thing. It's like, there's no real baby face in like a main pushed act. Like, everyone's kind of a self-serving asshole.
Yeah, which is a great commentary on society, I think. But that may not make the best wrestling show. Because, like, Angle and Joe, you are right. Exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like, Joe is kind of a babyface, but Kurt certainly isn't.
Yeah.
The following week, we get the debut of Serotonin on Impact. Well, Frankie Kazarian's in action. They come out to Raven's theme. They get a tough debut because Kazarian's first match under the Serotonin gimmick is against Sting.
Yeah, they had an idea for a gimmick rebrand, but they don't actually want to use it in any pushed capacity.
It feels like Raven annoyed them about something. And they're like, fine, do your fucking flock gimmick again.
But maybe the bit is that, like, you know, they're all sadists and want to get the shit kicked out of them, you know?
They do want to be demolished by the top stars on the show.
Yeah.
It is kind of wild just to have Sting doing, like, relatively meaningless singles matches on TV against Kazarian.
Yeah. I mean, eventually you kind of got to, you know, do that. You can't just be running down to the ring and breaking up a fight every week.
Yeah, it is the thing. Russo's not precious about just booking his top guys on TV and matches and pinning them all the time. It's like he does not have any like compunction about protecting people in that way. He's just like, yeah, I want to have Sting wrestle on TV. He's going to wrestle Kazarian in a 3-minute match.
I don't have a problem with it.
Sting does come to the ring with Abyss's NWA World Title.
Especially like, sorry, as we talked about, it's like they're in the middle of their, like, we want our TV ratings because we're trying to get more money too, so...
Because, yeah, there's a match this month where they advertise Christian versus Kurt as the main event of the show, which never actually happens, but they are just like, you know, let's just put stars on TV. Why not?
Yeah.
Serotonin, they try to surround Sting with kendo sticks, but Sting runs them off with his bat. Kazarian tries to sneak attack Sting with the kendo stick from behind, but Sting just catches it over his head.
It's kind of awesome, to be fair.
Sting's cool. Sting's a cool wrestler.
Yeah, more than like a good wrestler, Sting is a cool wrestler.
Sting has Kaz for the Scorpion Death Drop, dumps Divine overhead when he tries to interfere and then wins with it. Sting calls out Abyss. He wants to give the title back, but he wants a world title rematch in return. So
That's
he gives
fucked up.
He is exploiting Abyss. This is literally exploiting Abyss.
Yeah. Also, it's his.
It is, yeah. Return it to the man. You just took it. He gives Abyss until the end of the show to give him an answer. So this is another segment for the second month in a row in which we will have to wait through the show to find out what Sting and Abyss have to say to each other.
It worked so well last time. Let's run it back again.
He says he's got to shake Sting's hand and say yes, but don't bring Mitchell. Later in the show, we show Raven back in the ring whipping Kaz after his loss. So that's the thing. Like, Raven doesn't accompany them to the ring. They come out as a trio. Which, by the way, if you're wondering who is Serotonin, it is the group of Maverick Matt, Martyr, I think he's known as at some point, and Kaz, which is Matt Bentley, Johnny Devine, and Frankie Kazarian are your 3 members of Serotonin, and they are the lackeys of Raven.
They're more like the fanboys of Raven.
Yeah, they are. We're kind of going back to like the Cassidy Riley thing, aren't we?
Yeah, they're like stans.
They're his original stan culture here in 2006 DNA. Tomko, he has a DVD from Christian. He says it's about Abyss's past, and we'll see it tonight. He's going to the truck to play it.
I feel like Shelley should have done this.
He's busy. He's pogoing.
He's like, I cut together this DVD for you.
Yeah, this torture DVD. No, the torture one is Mitchell's. Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Later in the show, Abyss comes to the ring. Sting also comes out. Sting says Abyss has potential to be a great world champion, which is why I want to take your title from you. But he's got to stop worrying about his past. They can change his future. He'll give Abyss his title back if Sting gets a title shot at Final Resolution. Christian appears on the screen. This is Tomko's DVD playing. Christian is outside a prison. Despite this being a recording, Christian actually appears to directly acknowledge the conversation Abyss and Sting were just having.
He knows what he's talking about.
He can see into the future. Because they're outside of a prison, Mike Tenay says in a stunned voice, that must mean that Abyss was in prison.
What if it just means that he worked in a prison?
Well, that's what Tomko was doing. Maybe he was Tomko's guard mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Sting ignores this DVD, offers a handshake. Abyss grabs his neck, and they fight. Security separate them. Christian was disguised as a member of security all along.
That's awesome.
And attacks Sting with a nightstick. Mitchell insists Abyss leaves, but Abyss comes back, runs off Christian and Tomko, and hands Sting his bat.
But not the title.
No, not the title. I do think actually he does leave with the title. I do think he gets the title back. Sting clearly realizes his gambit didn't work and is like, fine, take it. I do find this whole premise of this segment very funny in that Christian, they think he's visiting. Well, they know Tomko's there. They know Tomko is at the Impact Zone because Tomko delivers the DVD.
He's in the truck.
Yeah, they presumably think Christian is somehow still at the prison, but Christian is there distracting them.
Maybe it's because they're stupid.
I think they are stupid, and they maybe did not think this too far through. But also, does it matter? Not really.
No.
It's like, this story would be, really good and amazing were it not for that one logical inconsistency.
For the many logical inconsistencies.
December 28th Impact, JB has Mitchell and Abyss. Later tonight, it'll be Abyss versus Sting versus Christian in a nightstick on a pole match.
Damn, who's running this show?
There's no way of knowing. Jim Cornette, canonically. So in canon, Jim Cornette loves these fucking pole matches.
Yeah, in canon, Jim Cornette is biting Vince Russo's shit.
Yeah, he's booking these left, right, and center. Mitchell wants to know whose side Abyss is on. Abyss reaches out for the NWA title, which is now on Mitchell's shoulder, but Mitchell pulls it away. Abyss's body language through this entire month relating to the NWA title is so good. Like, every time Sting has it or Mitchell has it, he's always like reaching out to it like it is his fucking Gollum precious. And like, he really
please
wants
give it back to me. It's mine.
It's like the one thing he actually kind of wants.
And all these mean people are just stealing it from him.
Yeah, they're keeping it away from him and using it as leverage and then torturing him over it. And he just wants his fucking belt that he kind of earned. Mitchell says Abyss better kill Sting tonight or he'll reveal the secret. Says Tomko and Christian may know the result that Abyss ended up in prison, but he knows the cause. Why Abyss ended up in prison. So Abyss better be on his side tonight.
Fraud.
Yeah, he committed tax fraud, actually. It's actually quite boring.
That was his brother.
Oh, yes, of course.
And he took the fall.
That's the reason they shut down the law firm and he had to go to WWE.
It's true.
That's the reason when he returned, Joseph Park was in the undead realm. Later in the show, Letitia has Christian. He accuses Sting and Abyss of having a conspiracy to keep him away from the title. And if they want to team up on Christian tonight, he has that problem solved.
Tomko.
The Tomko, yeah, the big guy.
Because that's what he does.
He's a problem solver.
That's his whole thing.
He's then also mean to Letitia. And then, it's not the main event segment, because there's a whole main event segment with Angle and Joe. But the main event of that show is Sting versus Christian versus Abyss in a rematch from the pay-per-view in a nightstick on a pole match. The rules being, the first person to use the stick wins.
That's... I mean, you know what? Fair.
Yeah.
That makes the item more desirable than simply I want to beat someone to death with it.
It is also obviously the easy way out of having to beat anybody. Mm-hmm. You can do the big three-way on TV again without anybody actually really losing.
It's not really a real match.
It's not. Sting and Abyss work together, but Sting stops Abyss from going to get the nightstick. Once again, Sting, the quote-unquote nice guy.
Yeah, the manipulative piece of shit.
Sting stops Christian from getting a stick with a superplex. Abyss tries to use this window, but Tomko interferes. Tomko gets the stick, but Sting slingshots Christian into him, grabs the stick, hits Christian with it in the ribs, one single shot, and then he wins.
Does that count?
It is one single... I guess the rule wasn't that you had to go up and get it and hit him with it. It was just you had to hit him with it.
That's true.
First strike wins.
What if it was a different nightstick?
That would be a good scam.
By that logic, it didn't need to be the nightstick from the pole.
That's true. You are right.
It could have been any nightstick.
You could have just grabbed one from a fan. They do carry them in the Impact Zone.
So do security, apparently.
After the match, Tomko attacks Sting. Abyss makes the save. Sting hands Abyss the nightstick as they continue to build trust.
What a payoff this will have.
Yes. The following week, we go to Mitchell and Abyss. They're also outside of the same prison. Abyss is in a great deal of distress here.
Yeah, he fucking hates this.
He is wailing like a wounded animal. And I will say, once again, a really good performance from him, because he feels like it is actually distressing to watch him be tortured by James Mitchell here.
Yeah. James Mitchell's not a good dad.
No.
Thank God he apologizes to him.
We are literally just recently got the final payoff in the Undead Realm where they reconciled in 2026 and they're all fine. And Mitchell was like, we tried to take over the world and then we tried to kill each other. That was dumb, huh?
She should have been. I'm sorry about the prison thing. I know that really fucked with you.
Yeah, that psychological torture thing I did to you so that you would be my friend and not be Sting's friend. Even though Sting, I could have just pointed out the ways in which Sting is being an asshole to you, and that probably would have worked better than the torture.
But that's all I knew.
It is all he knows.
That's how my father, Kevin Sullivan, taught me.
Yes, the devil dad. Mitchell says that Abyss has a choice to make, and he's going to make it tonight. As Abyss chokes Mitchell and screams as we cut away. Feels like he's still on the fence.
Whose side is he on?
Yeah, he's on the NWOs. The main event of the show is meant to be Christian versus Kurt Angle. As the match is about to start, Jim Cornette announces that Tomko will be barred from ringside at the pay-per-view. They also announced at one point in Jim's office that it'll just be a three-way. It'll just be a three-way at the pay-per-view, like everyone expects. But elimination rules, which is important.
A three-way dance.
But there's a whole deal here with Joe attacks Angle that we'll cover under Angle Joe. But we circle back to Christian at the end. He slides back in, jumps Angle. Tomko makes the timekeeper ring the bell to start the match, but Angle suplexes Christian and then Tomko just attacks. So the match never really starts. Sting makes the save as Angle and Sting stand shoulder to shoulder to close the show for the first time.
The old bait and switch.
Yeah, it's really funny in that the brawl that happens here between Joe and Angle is like 6 minutes long, which is longer than any match that happens on television this month, which is quite miraculous.
You know what's funny?
Yep.
It's not even a bait and switch.
Yeah.
It's a bait and nothing.
Yeah, they didn't even switch. They just did a brawl and then the match didn't happen.
Yeah.
The Go Home Impact, we get a recap video of Abyss's past and torture. Angle is in Jim Cornette's office. Jim has been very amenable to Angle for the whole story with Samoa Joe that we'll get into. He says he's helped him, but he needs Kurt to help him tonight. Kurt's like, why the fuck would I do that? And Jim is like, I make the NWA title matches. Do you want to get on my good side? And Kurt's like, all right, yeah, fine, I'll do your bidding.
That's fair.
I know I'm real angry at you all the time, but I do want title matches.
I haven't really had a chance to think about it yet because of my ego, but I'll get to it.
JB has James Mitchell. He has a message for Abyss. He stands here without his monster. He doesn't even know where Abyss is after he emotionally tortured him outside that prison last week. Mitchell says he's Abyss's only friend and the only man he can trust, and it's time for him to make a decision and come home, or Mitchell will spill the beans about his super duper secret.
Okay, like a good friend does.
It's either be my friend or I will blackmail you. That's how I get you to do this podcast.
I was going to say, it's the same as our relationship.
Main event of this Impact, the Go Home episode of Impact, the Go Home segment. It's Abyss versus Tomko in Tomko's TNA in-ring debut. Jim Cornette comes out and says to illustrate how Tomko will be barred from ringside at the pay-per-view and to ensure Christian can't interfere tonight, he will go in a little cage at ringside. It's actually a pretty big cage. It's a red bird cage. It will be cage in a cage, and despite all his rage, he's still just a cage in a cage. Jim calls in a favor, and Kurt Angle comes out to put Christian in the cage. I like that Angle doesn't even really have to physically drag him. He just kind of backs him into it.
Yeah, he just stares through his soul.
Tomko goes to get a chair. Abyss boots it into his face. We have a bunch of Angle Joe bullshit. But in the kerfuffle, Christian gets the key and escapes his cage. Abyss black hole slams Tomko, but Christian runs in and attacks him for the DQ. They beat down Abyss until lights out Sting. Sting runs wild, saves Abyss. Abyss raises Sting's hand, but then kills him with a shock treatment as Abyss returns home to James Mitchell.
I really like that, while everything starts to break down, Cornette's just like, fuck, come on.
Yeah.
He's like, this is my perfect plan. Why is it not working?
It feels like it should cause him to readdress his plans for the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
If he was like, to illustrate how good my plan is to stop Tonko from interfering, I'm going to stop Christian from
Yeah.
This doesn't seem like a good plan. The rating grew with a record peak rating of 1.24 for the Abyss versus Tomko main event. It is the highest quarter-hour rating for TNA to date. So this match, to date, is the most watched match in TNA history.
Time to put Tomko on top.
Yeah, Tomko, big draw.
A TV star.
The problems he's solving is the ratings problems. That brings us to Final Resolution 2007, January 17th, 2007, from the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida. The main event of which is Christian Cage versus Sting versus Abyss in an elimination match for the NWA World Title. Earlier in the show, Sting pops into a Team 3D interview just being like, "Oh, JB, you seen Abyss?" And JB is like, "No, I have not seen Abyss, Sting." And then later, JB has Sting, says, "Chris will be a new man tonight."
Oh.
Mitchell walks up and says Sting makes him sick. He thinks Sting is just as much of an animal as Abyss, despite his divine purpose. Sting says Mitchell will be dancing with the devil in hell because there's not enough room up here for you anymore.
He's got to kill him.
Yeah, and send him back to hell.
That's not very Christian.
It's how you banish a demon from this plane.
One of the ways, sure.
So Christian Cage defeats Sting and Abyss to become NWA World Champion for a second time.
It feels more appropriate this time.
It's because like the last time was the kind of bad floppy babyface run.
Yeah.
And now you're just watching Christian. He's just being Christian. He's saying slurs. He's being mean to people.
Yep.
That's his whole shtick.
That's Christian, baby.
Tomko is locked in the cage at ringside. Tomko nonetheless reaches through the door and starts choking Sting, finding a new way this dumb Jim Cornette plan does not work.
You know what I would have done?
Yeah.
Locked him in the cage in the back.
That's a much smarter idea.
Yeah. Or like 3 feet further away.
Yeah, because in this instance, it's not even like last time Christian got the key and escaped, which is like an unforeseen circumstance that you can be like, well,
this is just like the most obvious example of why this wouldn't work ever.
It's just the cage was really badly designed and he could just reach through the door.
He didn't even like have to like Mark Henry rip it open or something.
No, he just like grabbed him. This distracts the referee when Abyss hits the Black Hole Slam on Christian. Sting then eliminates Abyss with the Scorpion Death Drop, guaranteeing a new NWA World Champion between Sting and Christian Cage, and removing Abyss.
Dick.
Taking Abyss's title reign away from him, like an asshole.
Like in the end, Christian didn't even do it.
Yeah.
It was Sting.
Yeah.
The guy who's pretending to be his friend.
Sting is the worst. That is what we're learning.
He's like, you know what? Chris will be a new man. A man without a world championship.
You know, all those people through the years have turned on Sting. I'm now beginning to see why.
Revenge.
Yeah.
What an asshole.
Sting stings up and hits a superplex. I was trying to think of obviously Hulk's up is when he goes brother and runs wild. And I was like, stings up doesn't feel as good because obviously Hulk, hulking, that's actually a verb. I was trying to think of what stings like firing up would be called.
Give me a sec. All right. Is he Sting maxing?
He's Sting maxing. Sting starts to Sting max and hits a superplex.
Which actually will come full circle later when he becomes Joker Sting and he will be Jester maxing.
Oh my god. He does. He does. He was ahead of the time. We're back on Sting's side. Never mind him being an asshole. Sting locks Christian in the Scorpion Deathlock, but Mitchell frees Tomko, which apparently he didn't even need to do. But
someone make a Black Pill Sting edit.
What would that consist of?
I mean, you could find some clips of him mogging, I'm sure, and then you can be like, have like some generic like slowed down beat in the background as he like walks past people, and you put the black bar over their eyes.
There was a note that he's going on a Christian-friendly cruise this month, presumably as some kind of star performer.
And it's just Sting like fucking walking through, betraying his friends as the alpha wolf pack.
No, Woo! Mitchell distracts the ref as Tomko hits the Argentine neckbreaker, but Sting kicks out. Abyss comes back and neutralizes Tomko. Sting hits Christian with the Unprettier, but Christian kicks out. Ref gets bumped. Abyss comes in the ring with the chain, feigns to deck Christian with it, but swivels the goddamn hips and takes out Sting instead.
Again, deserved.
Yep, listen, I'd like to think there's a world where Abyss would not have done this had Sting not eliminated him from his world title match.
You know what? Despite it all,
Yeah.
Sting actively been a worse guy to him than Christian has.
Yeah, Christian's actually done pretty much. He said some slurs in his direction, which we won't discuss.
I mean, yeah.
But for the most part,
Who hasn't?
Christian has just been verbally mean to Abyss.
Yeah, which means he's verbally mean to everybody.
That's true. Like, Christian has been as mean to Abyss as he has been to Leticia.
Yeah, and Leticia isn't out here swiveling the hips on Sting.
But yes, Abyss drops Christian with the chain. Christian hits Sting with a frog splash. He wins the NWA World Title. Ending Abyss's one and only world title reign in his career. Which, not the best world title run. It's a 2-month run.
But at least he had it.
At least he had it. There's two I feel very strongly in the at least he had it category for TNA history. And it is Abyss and Chris Sabin. Like, both guys that, like, they both only had 1 to 2 month runs. They didn't set the world on fire. But listen, it's better that they had it than not.
Yeah, everyone from, like, that particular sort of, not era necessarily, but, like, association with the TNA. I think it's always good when they, like, even like Kazarian, you know, Shelley, like, whenever these people get the title, it just feels right.
Yep. Sting came to TNA Final Resolution with some notes written down of ideas for his main event match.
The notes were, I will be a piece of shit.
I want to fuck over Abyss as hard as possible. It surprised some people because his rep is that he doesn't show any indications of giving any thoughts to TNA except when he's there being told what to do.
Well, you know what? He was clearly inspired. That Christian fucking cruise.
Yeah, it really gave him peace of mind.
Yeah.
A few minutes were cut from the pay-per-view main event due to the show running long, but none of the angles and interference spots in the match were cut, so everything ran close together, though some thought it worked out better and others thought it seemed too busy and overbooked as a result. I would say it would have been too busy and overbooked regardless, and the fact that it was tighter and pithier made it a little better.
I think that every match is going to be like this, so we should just move on from it and not think about it too hard.
That's true. You can't be like, whoa, did we really need interference? Like, I do think these three men have good chemistry. I think the matches have been pretty good, despite the fucking
like
insane.
fine.
Yeah, they're like nice 3-star, 3.25-star heavyweight matches where the big guys do moves to each other.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of bullshit happens. And, like, listen, it's at this point, we're 5 years into TNA. You know what it is. You know?
Furthermore, it is just like US wrestling, you know?
Yeah.
Like US TV wrestling specifically. This is kind of what their matches are just like.
They just do a bunch of bullshit unless you're inspired by Japanese wrestling, in which now you do a bunch of how to torture bullshit.
Yeah. They're the ones that made it.
Yep. But Christian is your new NWA World Champion. The other big match at Final Resolution is for the third month
Robert
in a row.
Roode, Eric Young.
Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe. So we follow up from the last pay-per-view in which Kurt Angle lost to Samoa Joe despite his promise that he would never ever do a rematch. He's like, I'm never doing a rematch with Samoa Joe no matter what happens. It turns out he lost and he may not feel the same way anymore.
Yeah, he's like, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't want to lose. I don't like losing. I would like to not lose. So we open the first Impact of the month. Robert Roode is in the ring doing some bullshit, and Kurt Angle walks out. He kicks Roode out of the ring with some kind of edit. I think Kurt went longer in the promo, but this happens all the time in the show. I assume it's just for time rather than like he said some bullshit. Like anytime I see some weird edit on Impact, I do just assume we had to squeeze the 6 minutes they spent out there down to 3. So this is how we did it.
Because there's 800 angles on these shows.
Yeah. Angle looks on the verge of tears. Up there with Abyss this month in terms of unhinged performances. Listen, there is a little bit of art and fact coming together here, but he does seem like the most like out of control, upset man you have ever seen in your life because he has lost this match to Samoa Joe. Whatever is going on in his life, it allows him to tap into it in a very realistic way for a pro wrestling television character.
Sure.
He insists he doesn't tap out. even though Joe did make him tap out. He said he gave Joe a chance at redemption. He demands Joe give him the same. Joe appears on the screen and reminds Angle that he insisted that Turning Point would be their last match, so he declines. Don West is like recapping that. He's like, that's what Kurt said. And Angle's like, what are you saying, Don?
What the fuck do you mean by that, Don?
What are you saying to me?
Donathan?
How dare you speak my words back to me? Angle begins to cry and then attacks Don West. Mm-hmm. Angle locks Don in the ankle lock as Mike Tenay demands security comes out. My favorite part of this, if you watch just as they go to break, Don desperately clutches at Mike Tenay's ankles for help.
Yeah.
And Mike more squirms away from him than actually tries to help.
What's Mike gonna do?
I think Mike could at least give Kurt Angle a classic Paddington Bear hard stare.
Yeah, and then Kurt will run over and rip his throat out.
But at least he would fall valiantly for his friend.
Yeah, fuck that.
We come back from the opening titles as Tenay reacts to Angle's attacks and officials check on Don. Then Ron Killing's music starts to play because this is where he faces Abyss. And Mike Tenay is like, fuck me then, cut me off, fine, the show goes on, we're going to
fuck,
fucking
I guess
Ron.
whatever, Don West is dead.
Yeah, we're just doing Ron Killing's Abyss. Jim Cornette joins commentary for the rest of the show as well. Kurt Angle then spends the rest of the show on a rampage. He attacks Eric Young, wanting to know where Samoa Joe is.
I like how Eric's like,
Which is, Jarrett used to do that before as well, like harassing.
Why does everyone think Eric Young is the most tapped in man in the locker room?
Because he's conspiratorial, I guess. He wants to know where everyone is so he doesn't get killed.
It hasn't been working out for him.
While Angle uppercuts EY out of his boots, like he flies upwards. Later in the show, Angle is backstage with Slick Johnson in an ankle lock. Somewhere Larry Zbyszko is smiling. He's demanding his rematch with Samoa Joe. Once again later, Angle comes back out. He grabs SoCal Val and pulls her into the ring. He steps on Val's hair and says that he'll break her ankle if Joe doesn't give him the rematch. Jim Cornette, who is on commentary, gets in the ring, points out, that's a woman. That's a woman, Kurt.
Kurt's like, I really do not give a fuck.
Yes, I know that's a woman. That's why I'm threatening her. That's the
kind
whole
of the point.
Cornette points out that he can contractually book Joe in a one-on-one match. A precedent I'm sure that will be stuck to. But he can do tag matches. So next week at Impact, he books Angle and a partner versus Joe and a partner. And Kurt's like, what will that do for me? I want my rematch. And Jim's like, well, get in there and like convince him Olympic style.
Which I think means work him over.
Yeah.
Piss him off enough that he has to do it.
That's the idea.
Find another woman to assault.
Listen. Kurt Angle hasn't taken on the role of being a locker room leader, in part because numerous TNA sources say he seems a little out there. Says one wrestler, he's insane. It's like it's real to him. He seems to want to relive his Olympic glory days in pro wrestling, has such an intensity and passion about what he does, but in a way that comes across as if he takes wrestling matches more seriously than most are comfortable with or used to.
Oh, I'm sorry that someone freaking cares about this freaking business. I guess he's just a fucking chud.
Yeah, I'm sorry that he takes work seriously.
Yeah. I'm sorry that it still is real to him.
Yeah. Whoa.
It's damn real.
It's still damn real to me.
Ah. That's what he does. He goes, ah.
He does. December 21st Impact, Don is back. And he says he has a severe ankle sprain after Angle attacked him last week.
That's probably about as good as you could ask for.
Only missed a week. I guess his voice is fine.
Yeah. Well, he's like, I gotta be here to call Sting versus Kazarian.
That's very important. JB has Rhino in the back because the main event of the show, they were, as illustrated last week, they will have partners. So it'll be Angle and Rhino versus Joe and AJ. That's the main event of this episode of TV. A really cool main event on paper. Rhino does a promo about AJ, but Kurt says he is very mad about not getting his rematch, and he'll give Joe every reason in the world to grant it tonight.
So exactly what Cornette said.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm getting to think this guy maybe isn't operating on the highest level.
You don't think like his brain's all there?
Yeah, I think he might be fucking crazy.
AJ and Joe also have an injury later in the show that we'll talk about when we're talking about Rhino. But the main event, AJ Styles and Samoa Joe defeat Kurt Angle and Rhino in a match that has less than 90, well, a little more than 90 seconds. It might be like 102 seconds of in-ring time.
Yeah, this is TNA.
It sure is.
Like, you look at a match on paper and you go, whoa! And then you watch it and you're like, oh, it's an angle more than a match.
Which is so funny. Like, the entire concept of this is that Kurt wants Joe in the ring so that he can, convince him to fight him in one-on-one again. And instead, the match is just less than 2 minutes. Surely, like, by the premise of the story, Kurt should want to keep the match out there as long as possible until Joe was, like, mad and giving him his rematch. They begin brawling on the floor before the opening bell. We come back from break and they're already in the ring getting the heat. And there is less than 3 minutes left in the video file when they come back from this break.
Which means you know they're going to work at a pace.
Which they do, to be fair.
Yeah, because there's no other way for it to work.
Hot tag to Angle. He runs wild as we get the first Angle and AJ interactions in TNA in the ring, which is fun. Joe has the coquina clutch on Rhino, but Angle slams him. Styles grabs a roll-up for the win, and less than 2 minutes of actual in-ring action in this match, and Angle locks Joe in the ankle lock after the match as we go off the air and hit Adrenaline Rush. Adrenaline Rush. Next week, JB is in Cornette's office. Angle wants his goddamn rematch with Samoa Joe.
He's been very clear about this.
He wants one thing. Jim Cornette's like, brother, I gave you the tag match last week and you did not convince him. That's on you. I have to decide whether Christian gets a title shot or Sting gets a title shot, and you're out here fucking annoying me.
Bark, bark.
There's a fascinating thing happening now where I can hear the bark and then I hear the feedback of the bark from your side through the microphone. So I'm getting like dual barks. Jim asks Kurt not to disrupt the program. Angle says he's not going to mess anything up, but he will get his rematch one way or another.
If I was Jim, I'd be like, "What does that mean, though? Like, what are you gonna do though? Because I'm running a show here. Like,
it seems awfully like you still plan to mess up the show. But I guess he didn't attack a referee tonight, so that's fine." Joe and a woman arrive to the building. Joe's on crutches after his ankle locked last week. The woman is vaguely identified as a female partner of his.
For shoots?
I have no idea. I would say no, based on my impression.
What do you mean by that?
She just seems more like an actress.
Should I kill this dog?
No, it's fine. If you do hear dogs barking in the background, he just wants to be on the show.
He's dropping crazy slurs. See, that's why I wanted to kill him.
And it's quiet now, so I think you did.
He knows.
Fuck. Later in the show, Letitia has Samoa Joe. He's on crutches. She asks about his injury. He says he doesn't have one. He says he won't be broken or beaten like Kurt. Still rejects the rematch and says Kurt needs to get over it.
Okay, if I was Joe, I'd probably just give him the match at a certain point.
Yeah, I would have watched him attack SoCal Val and been like, I should probably just give it to him.
I would give him the match and then, like, get myself DQ'd immediately.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That would fuck with him more.
Yeah.
Because he would spend 3 or 4 weeks hyping himself back up for the rematch, and then...
Yeah, and then you would, like, completely take the wind out of his sails.
You're better at mind games than Samoa Joe.
Wow.
We recapped the TNA end-of-year awards, which are not official. They're the official awards. Will be on our Patreon in the next couple of weeks. And we might disagree with all of these. And some of them aren't even our categories.
I mean, we're all waiting to see who is going to be the Cyber Vixen of the Year.
So, Tag Team of the Year, AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels. Feud of the Year, Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle. Match of the Year, the Styles and Daniels versus LAX Ultimate X match at No Surrender. Knockout of the Year, or Cyber Vixen of the Year, Christy Hemme. The most inspirational professional wrestler, which is, I guess, their equivalent of Human Man of the Year, Eric Young.
Yep.
Moment of the Year, Kurt Angle comes to TNA. X Division Star of the Year, Samoa Joe. Finisher of the Year, Canadian Destroyer. Who to watch in 2007, Kurt Angle.
That up-and-comer. He is one to watch.
He has never held a belt in this company. This might finally be his time. Mike Tenay and Jim Cornette are in the ring to reveal Mr. TNA for 2006. This is where Jim, by the way, announces that it's an elimination match at the pay-per-view. I didn't color-code it because it's one line in this promo. The nominees for Mr. TNA: AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, Jeff Jarrett, Sting, and Samoa Joe. They cut to like little men in a box things, except for Jarrett, who's not there. Joe wins. Joe's pleased. AJ looks sad because actually this is the first time he's lost this award. So he kind of just expected to win. Angle leaves immediately. We recap Joe's year real quick as they go through like him beating Steiner and working all the way up to losing to Kurt Angle, I guess. Angle interrupts his acceptance and his giant bowling trophy, by the way. Angle has the woman Joe arrived with. Angle says, don't even try to help because by the time you get here, the bitch is toast. His exact words. He's going to kill her. He gives Joe a choice. Either give Kurt Angle the rematch or he will break her ankle. Joe, not liking this girl, like hesitates, which gives Angle a moment. He puts the ankle lock on and Joe accepts the rematch. Angle apologizes and says it wasn't.
There's no debate here.
Yeah.
Like, just give him the match. Jesus.
I feel like the second he dragged your supposed girlfriend out by the hair and threatened to break her ankle, you would be like, fine, rematch. Okay, rematch.
And furthermore, don't go through with it. You haven't signed anything legal.
Yeah, that's true. Once you get her away from him, you can just be like, that was coercion. That doesn't count.
Then you call the police.
Yeah.
And they fix all the problems.
We have laws about coercion.
As they are one to do.
After Joe accepts the rematch, Angle apologizes and says it wasn't personal. Then says, actually it is, and reapplies the ankle lock as Joe hobbles up the ramp and the girl screams, he broke my ankle!
So anyway, the bitch was toast anyway.
The bitch was toast, no matter what.
So like, shit, Joe. You got played. You aren't good at mind games.
Yeah, he's just swimming in, he's a kid in a big swimming pool.
Well, anyway, doesn't matter because at freaking final resolution, the real bitch will be toast, and that's Kurt Angle.
Whoa, that would have been a good line. That would have got him. I did enjoy it as Joe was hobbling up the ramp. He just chucked one of his crutches at Kurt.
Yeah, he's got. I mean, what if it just hit her?
That would have been really funny.
I'll save you.
Fuck. I do believe we never see this girl again.
Yeah, Kurt killed her. She died.
And I think Joe is smart to be like, you can never come to my workplace ever again.
True.
We also then get a 2006 recap video set to Shameful by Atreyu.
Well, Kurt should be feeling fucking shameful.
Yeah, this was the last thing that aired in TNA in 2006. This was the note they ended the year on.
You know what? Fairs.
January 4th, Impact. Not from the Tokyo Dome, from the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida.
What the hell?
Well, it's January 4th.
Yeah, why shouldn't they? I'm saying, put them in the dome. They're known for the dome.
The TNA does start running the dome next year. Running the dome.
They do start running the dome.
Yep. TNA holds co-promoted shows in the Tokyo Dome.
They run the dome more than AEW has.
Joe is very mad and wants to kill Kurt. Kurt has a match tonight. Jim Cornette's like, Joe, please. Please don't interrupt the show.
Stop fucking up my show.
Joe says the only person who wants to hurt is Kurt.
I'm begging you.
Jim is like, leave the building. And Joe's like, I don't think I will. Because later in the show, JB has Joe. And Joe says, I'll leave the building tonight, but only after my job is done.
And it's like, again, you'd be like, what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
So this is the show that's meant to be main evented by Christian Cage versus Kurt Angle. It doesn't start because Samoa Joe jumps Angle during his entrance. They brawl all over the building and backstage. We come back from break and Jim Cornette tells security to let Angle and Joe fight, so they brawl some more. Angle and Joe brawl longer than any TV match of this month. Joe slams Angle through a table on some concrete as we go to break. We come back from break. They brawl some more. Now Jim is like, I think somebody might get killed. We do have to separate them. I thought they would get it out of their system, and they haven't. So, back in security.
If they die during a match, that's fine.
However, his compromise is to make Angle versus Joe at the pay-per-view a 30-minute Iron Man match. So it will be the joint longest match in TNA history. Isn't it crazy that there hasn't been a match longer than 30 minutes than 30 minutes in TNA history so far?
You know what? No.
Yeah.
Anything that is the most on the money thing.
Yeah, it is very TNA that we've had three 30-minute Iron Man matches. But we have not yet had a normal match go longer than 30 minutes. Then Go Home Impact, Kurt Angle, he's wrestling Maverick Matt as Serotonin. Really getting a tough draw.
Fucking Maverick Matt's gonna get murdered again.
A distraction does let Matt get some offense in on Kurt, but then Kurt Germans all of Serotonin out of their boots, hits the Angle Slam, and submits Maverick Matt with an ankle lock, ending the Matt Bentley-Kurt Angle dream match we all hoped for when Kurt Angle came to TNA.
That was the one I was waiting for.
You're in a not Angle, not Sting, not Joe, not Jarrett or Sabin or Daniels or Rhino or any of these guys. Michael Shane, Shawn Michaels' cousin.
Yeah, I had to run back that Mania match.
Pretty much. It was pretty much identical. We had an Angle Joe history package set to Yearning by the Autumn Offering. I should make like a Spotify playlist of like TNA songs. Of all these like goofy songs that no one's ever heard of. I might go back through the notes and put that together. Raven attacked Maverick Matt with a kendo stick, where Don says the words at some point, "That's so Raven."
It's a future I can see.
That's so Raven.
JB
JB as Joe. JB mentions Joe didn't get involved earlier. And Joe says that was a request of him made by Jim, but he is going to cripple Kurt Angle tonight still.
I won't do it during the match. I respect Jim too much.
And then main event, during the friggin' bullshit with the cage and Angle, Joe appears and starts fighting with Angle. Angle gets him in the ankle lock, but Joe rolls through, sending Angle crashing headfirst into the announce table, which did look like it hurt. Pay-per-view, 30-minute Ironman match. Before the match, so JB has Samoa Joe. He will torture, pummel, and beat Kurt Angle for 30 minutes. Kurt Angle will be broken. JB did at one point say, it's like, oh, we had tough words from Kurt Angle earlier. And Kurt Angle did not do an interview earlier. So, not sure what happened there. But
he said some crazy shit.
Yeah, he was just speaking to be in private, I guess. Kurt Angle defeated Samoa Joe 3-2 in a 30-minute Iron Man match. Through this show, they did some fan voting, where you could text a mobile phone number to tell TNA whether you thought Kurt Angle was going to win or Samoa Joe was going to win. In the first TNA mobile poll, 43% said Kurt was going to win, 57% said Joe was going to win.
And guess what? The best part is...
What?
It meant nothing. They paid money for nothing, these fucking marks. We got them, baby.
Yeah, because this is one of those premium text numbers. And yeah, you got absolutely nothing out of this. It's not even like your vote was on screen, you know? It's just like you are part of an aggregate number. Well done.
Do you think like Cyber Sunday and Taboo Tuesday was shoot?
Well, I think probably largely more than you think, but only because they gave bullshit options.
Yeah.
Like, for the most part, it was all like, do you want an arm wrestling match, a pillow fight, or...
Steel cage ultimate death.
Yeah. So you're like, you're pretty certain it's going to be the cool thing as opposed to the two lame things. But TNA announced a licensing deal with New Motion Inc. on January 12th to provide mobile content featuring TNA wrestlers. The press release made trade magazines to cover the mobile industry. Part of the soft launch of the mobile deal was the Angle Joe polling at the pay-per-view. TNA's press release states there will be alerts, blogs, wallpapers, ringtones, fan clubs, and fan polling on the mobile service.
Fucking epic.
So this match was fascinating because I remember that someone in this match got a concussion.
I think we had the most interesting experience of this match.
Which I think ended up with us having concussions. But
yeah,
I vaguely remembered the story and I thought it was Joe that was concussed. And that seemed to be backed up because there's a moment where Joe does a suicide dive in this match and he hits his head off the floor.
And then they start fucking shit up.
Yeah. So if you go and watch the watch along, tnachat.com, patreon.com/kiddingme. Our watch along of this is really fun because we're trying to identify the ways in which Samoa Joe is fucked up after he clearly obviously got a concussion when he bashed his head off the floor.
Yeah, like, obviously.
It turned out Kurt was concussed like 8 minutes into the match. So
we couldn't tell at all.
We couldn't. Well, we could tell they were calling spots, which we still blamed on Joe.
I'm gonna put it beyond the fact that like we were just so hyper focused on the idea that it was Samoa Joe that got concussed that we stopped focusing on Angle.
Yeah, Angle just wasn't in the match anymore. But yes, Kurt did get a concussion. He did some media the next day, but there's a fun story. Angle plotted out the entire match ahead of time, move for move. He talked with Joe about it, but Joe didn't really pay close attention, figuring Angle was going to call it in the ring anyway. Then when Angle went blank after the concussion about 8 minutes in, Joe hadn't memorized the match and now had to call the spots. Angle had no idea what was going on, including where they were in the match, how many falls they had done, and Joe had to keep it together.
And like, which is like, again, further more important because it's a fucking Iron Man.
It is one of the more like delicate, intricate matches you could do.
And an Iron Man that's going 3-2, by the way. Not an Iron Man that's like 1 up at the end.
It is also like the match type where you can't go home early.
Yeah.
Guy gets concussion 8 minutes in, and you do have to wrestle 22 minutes more.
Yeah. I don't know if I like this match because of the concussion subplot, but I don't know. I think I like it in general. These two have are good in that kind of in-ring storytelling stuff.
They do actual professional wrestling. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
There was also the sub injury story is that Samoa Joe's MCL sprain was a severe secondary sprain based on his second examination on the 13th of December. He appeared on Hermie Sadler's promoted the Cross House show in Virginia and signed autographs but couldn't wrestle, and he was booked at the tapings but didn't wrestle the last tapings before Christmas, and he's not expected to go home to undergo surgery. So not only did Kurt Angle get concussed, Samoa Joe had a bum knee going into this match as well. So
they're just fucking going for it.
Minor miracle that it turned out pretty good.
It's almost like they're two of the best.
Joe smashed his head off the floor doing that big suicide dive and then immediately smashed his head on the mat doing a big German suplex. And we're like, Joe, how are you not the one concussed? Joe went 1-0 up with the coquina clutch. Angle ties it up with the ankle lock submission. Both Mike Tenay and Don West then imply that they both submitted quicker than usual because they didn't want to do long-term damage because they want to survive longer in the match. Angle went 2-1 up with another ankle lock with a little over 10 minutes remaining. Joe kicked out of an angle slam. Joe got it to 2-2 with a muscle buster, but Angle grabbed a quick pin. An intricate quick pin as well, where you had to do a go behind and one of those roll-ups. And you're like, damn, he was concussed. Joe hits a muscle buster with 90 seconds to go, but Angle gets his feet in the ropes. Joe locks Angle in the ankle lock, but Angle taps only right after time expires. Angle wins 3-2, ending their series for good.
They will never wrestle ever again.
They will only have one more match in 2007, so there's that. The complete collection is on TNA's YouTube now if you want to go watch every match Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe have ever had. But yeah, this is, as I said, it's an interesting match to watch in the context of both men getting hurt. And I think it holds together more or less okay. It's not on par with the other two matches. I think the other two matches are easily better matches. But it's not a bad match. It's a perfectly decent little Kurt Angle Samoa Joe. Not that it's 30 minutes long. Kurt Angle Samoa Joe match.
A quick jaunt.
A quick, easy watch.
I think it's good because it's offering something pretty different from the other two matches as well. So, it's part of a 3-match collection. I think it serves its own purpose.
And it does really stand out on these shows in particular because it's the only stuff that's not bullshit.
Yeah.
There's so much bullshit on these shows, and these are at least the two guys that are doing serious, we want to kill each other, let's do wrestling matches stuff. So it does, I think that helps it a little by contrast to everything around it.
Yeah.
Up next, yet another continuation of a story from the last pay-per-view. It is AJ Styles versus Rhino.
They still fucking hate each other.
They do. They're not good buddies. So nothing on the first show of the month, but the second Impact of the month, they are part of the main event, which is Rhino and Angle against Joe and AJ. Rhino cuts a promo earlier in the show and says he'll never trust AJ again after Turning Point when AJ faked that injury to get the win. Angle walks in and does his promo. Later in the show, JB has AJ. He calls Rhino a sore loser, then acknowledges there may be some trust issues with Samoa Joe. They have a history of beating the shit out of each other. They do have that. They do that main event. Styles does win that with a roll up on Rhino. So Styles beating his ass some more. There's a package on the next Impact where they're like, we hate each other, we're gonna beat each other up. It'll be a last man standing match, a final resolution.
My family's poor, blah blah blah.
Your family also poor, but
but poor in a different way, and that makes me upset.
January 4th Impact, Rhino faces Robert Roode. Roode sends Miss Brooks to the back. When Rhino starts to take over, Tracy just runs back out and distracts Rhino.
Yeah, fair.
This backfires though as Rhino rolls up Roode for the win. Roode is very mad at Tracy. AJ jumps Rhino. Rhino turns it around, and as he's about to gore AJ, Roode comes back and attacks Rhino. Styles hits Rhino with the Styles Clash, laying out Rhino. The next week on the Go Home show, we do have a 6-man tag team match. It is James Storm, Chris Sabin, and AJ Styles facing Rhino, Petey Williams, and Christopher Daniels. All these are intersecting pay-per-view matches. The Classic just lump them in a 6-man tag on a Go Home show, which is my personal favorite.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen me book DW.
You do love, this technically counts as progressing a story.
Yep, it gets everyone on the show and technically moves the story along. AJ at this point has like a weird remix of I Am, where the you are, I am comes in during the intro as opposed to a little later in the song. So they are starting to tweak with his music as a heel now. It's not the version they end up with long term, but it is a mild revision to the original I Am here.
A step.
We have heat on Rhino, hot tag to Daniels. Everyone hits their moves. Styles and Daniels face off. Styles kicks him straight in the gut. Then Styles tries to fake the knee injury again. Daniels doesn't really buy it. Daniels does go to like start attacking, but Hebner kind of stops him, and that's what stops Daniels and allows Styles to kick him in the knee and roll him up for the win.
He doesn't trust this guy anymore.
I appreciate that Daniels doesn't quite fall for it. Even though commentary kind of suggests he does, but he clearly doesn't. He's like held up by Hebner, who's like wanted to check on the injury, and that's how Styles gets the advantage, rather than like Daniels actually showing sympathy.
Yeah.
That brings us to the pay-per-view in which our opening contest is Rhino versus AJ Styles in the last man standing match. As we mentioned at the start of the show, it is a true era shift in TNA as AJ Styles is officially in his long boys. AJ has abandoned bikers. He will only return to bikers twice in his career after this, briefly in 2010, and then for the Cena match as a nostalgia throwback to their PWI cover. So, yeah, this is the end of bikers AJ.
It's for the best, really.
Yeah, it does. It signifies growth, which is weird to say with wrestling.
The growth
gear.
of the fabric is the growth of him as a performer.
Yeah, it is. It does suggest a development in him as a performer, a development in this period of TNA, a development in this stage of his career.
Well, we're about to get into AJ Styles' character work.
Which,
for the significant future.
Yeah, is better than you might think.
But, like, you know, that is sort of like, listen, he is as good of a wrestler as he will be. Mm-hmm. And that's not in a derogatory sense. Just like he is capped early and it's a high cap. And now he's going to sort of become more of a full functioning US television pro wrestling package.
Yeah, he's got to work the rest of it out. The Long Boys in this instance, they're actually quite similar to the gear he had last month in terms of color scheme. They're still like the kind of dark navy-ish color with the lighter blue trim. As he would develop on this style of gear for most of the rest of his career. He does a shift when he does the heel turn. So he has like these style of pants in varying degrees up until 2013. And then he switches to more the style of gear you would know him from New Japan and WWE for the rest of his career after that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a last man standing match, but it is Texas Death style rules, not AEW Texas Death, old school Texas Death. So you have to score a pinfall before initiating the 10 count. AJ drops his wrist tape, so Earl Hebner is distracted, allowing AJ to hit a low blow. It is a last man standing match. I don't know why he did that. He could just kick him the balls anyway.
Well, mate, I think at some point, it's just a matter of, like, what's it called?
Instinct?
Yeah, but it's a reflux. You know, it's like you just do it because you distract the ref when you want to cheat. You know, and I mean that both in like the kayfabe and in the real sense.
Yeah, where you're just like, oh, you know, I want to do a low blow, so I have to work it into the match. And then, you don't think too long about it when you're putting your match together.
Because also, like, why wouldn't you just kick him in the dick repeatedly 100 times? You know?
That is a fair question. AJ gets a pin on a springboard splash, but Rhino beats the count. Rhino alley-oops AJ into the top buckle, which looks pretty cool. Gets a pin on a spine buster, but AJ beats the count. This is where Mike and Don do reinforce that if you're feeling a little like knocked woozy or whatever, you might just take the pin so you can take the referee count to get take some time to get your win back. That's like part of the strategy of this match, which I did appreciate, to explain why these guys are taking falls to moves they wouldn't usually take falls to.
Some bullshit they never would otherwise.
Yeah, I do appreciate them filling in that gap. Rhino hits AJ with a pair of gores, gets the pin, goes to get a table. AJ sees that he gets a table and he's like, fuck this shit, I'm staying down. Deliberately gets counted down. Rhino demands AJ get back in the ring, promises he's going to finish off AJ tonight and chases him to the back. Later, Rhino reemerges after the card run down with AJ. Pile drives AJ on the top of the ramp, goes for his classic gore through the tunnel through a table, but AJ sidesteps him and Rhino crashes and burns as AJ gets the better of him once again.
Yeah.
I do like that as a finish.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it's like a guy who doesn't really give a shit, you know?
When there is no consequence for him really losing, and realistically he would rather not be in this match. We will be running this match back for the next 3 pay-per-views though, so lock in. Next 2. It's only 2 more.
Yeah.
We are in a bit of an era because, like, obviously, Angle and Joe has been run back a few times. We've been doing the Sting Abyss Christian Orbit for a while now. VKM have been doing their bullshit for months. We are kind of stuck in like some programs that just endlessly churn at the moment.
It is a weird. It's not even like a holding pattern necessarily. It's just, I don't know. Maybe maybe it is a holding, and we're like waiting for I don't know. It's odd. It's weird. It just feels like an extension for no discerning reason. I don't feel like the storylines have really, or like there's been like enough character change to really necessitate it. But like, I also feel that it's not going to matter anyway because these characters aren't going to stay this way. Like if this is like the downward spiral of Kurt, but like Kurt's just going to be like chill, He's
going to be a babyface in like a month. He's going to be a babyface world title challenger in like a month.
So it doesn't really make a ton of sense, but I think they just be booking week to week at this point.
That is probably the case because it is like a million things are happening but it's between the same people on the shows for a few months.
Yeah.
And it's like, listen, to go back to my booking of TEW, it is kind of like whenever you take over a file or jump back into a file, you do have to spend like 2 or 3 months just being like feeling out the lay of the land, being like, who am I kind of into, what stories are clicking with me, and then you kind of build from there. So it kind of feels like that's what's happening at Russo at the moment, where he's like dropped it back into this, which wasn't his baby. It hasn't been his baby for 2 years. So it's 2 years of other people's stories and characters that he's kind of picking up and kind of sifting through and working out.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, like who he likes and what he's doing, and the way he does that is just kind of like recycle the programs for a while and see what hits him. Because like the thing, I won't accuse him of being lazy. That's just the thing with the number of segments on these shows. I can't accuse him of being. It's not like, oh, lazy ass Vince Russo just repeating the same programs. I won't do that. There's too many segments on all of these shows. He writes too much to ever be called lazy. That's one thing you can't throw at him.
Just different.
On the topic of programs that will go for a very long time, Bobby Roode and Eric Young continued their drama as Bobby Roode continues to try and recruit Eric Young after the bikini contest did not go his way at the pay-per-view.
What a sentence.
Yep. So, first Impact of the month opens with Bobby Roode. He comes out with Miss Brooks. Roode is mad at their defeat in the bikini contest. He calls out Eric Young. He has an offer EY can't refuse.
What are we doing? Sorry, go ahead. Wrestling show.
This is where Kurt comes out and does a bunch of Kurt bullshit. Later in the show, after Christian mocks Letitia, we cut down the hallway to see Tracy Brooks is demanding that Eric signs the contract, but he's uppercutted by Kurt Angle before he can.
Good thing Tracy got out of there because Kurt's been on a fucking tear.
That's true. He does attack women at any notice at the moment. December 21st Impact, the final Impact before Christmas. A bunch of X-Division stars are shown in the crowd giving out gifts because it is the last Impact before Christmas. JB is interrupted by Eric Young. He has a leg lamp. It is a lamp with a lampshade in the shape of a leg. He does not want to give Tracy a bikini contest rematch, and the leg lamp is a gift for Santa as EY rubs it.
Looking for a leg genie.
What would the leg genie look like?
Leg.
Oh, it would just be a leg with like eyes?
Leg.
How does it talk?
Toes.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
I don't really know where to put this, but Lance Hoyt wrestles Bobby Roode, so we might as well put it here at some point. But Ron Killings comes out and sings a song wishing people happy holidays as the X Division boys hand out presents. And part of the lyric is about him trying to stop smoking.
Yeah.
And how it's really hard.
Why has so much of Ron Killings' career been associated with cigarettes?
It's an interesting question.
It's not a lot, but it's happened a couple of times, and that's weird.
It's more than once.
That's a weird, reoccurring thing for most people's careers who don't have any association with cigarettes. Is he like that much of a cigarette guy in real life?
He does smoke.
That people like associate him with darts specifically. Like he's like, oh, Ron Killings, he likes to rap. He's a funny guy. He smokes mad cigarettes, like more than anyone else does.
That might make sense. Lance Hoyt also dancing here.
Hates that one guy from fucking ESPN.
Lance?
No, Ron Killings.
Oh, right. Ron Killings did a long rap about a bunch of subjects, including, this is from Dave, including how hard it is for him to give up smoking. This is a favor to Spike TV, as they're involved in an anti-smoking group, and TNA is cooperating, doing some sort of storyline involving Killings, making it a New Year's resolution to give up smoking.
That should be the precipice for a heel turn. He's just so fucking on edge about not being able to smoke that he beats the shit out of Lance Hoyt.
Yeah. December 28th Impact, Robert Roode defeats Lance Hoyt. Tracy is backstage pushing Eric Young into the men's room.
Yeah.
Ron's on commentary for this one. Tenay is very amused when Ron calls him Mike to Nizzle for Shizzle. And this gives a great kick to Mike Tenay. He really enjoyed that. Mike follows up and asks Ron about his New Year's resolution to quit smoking. And Ron also mentions that he wants to become a Hollywood movie star, which is not just a throwaway line.
Ooh.
He followed up upon. Don asks Ron if he's going to quit smoking after sex, too.
I know what he means, but like the way it's said, it's like Don's asking if after they have sex, Ron's going to stop smoking.
I didn't interpret it that way, but you know what? I think that is a perfectly fair way to read it.
He's like, Ron, are you going to stop smoking after sex?
Tracy comes out, distracts Hoyt as Rude beats Hoyt with a top rope overhead German suplex.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes the fellas just want to do some bullshit.
In this throwaway TV match in which Tracy Brooks is sexually pleasuring Eric Young.
Whoa.
We'll get to that in a moment.
That was never confirmed.
That's true.
And from every indication, it could have just been a deep makeout.
It probably was, but nonetheless. Ron Truth is on commentary talking about not smoking, doing Hollywood, and Don is also asking about him being sexually pleasured. And the finish of the match is Rude hitting Hoyt with a top rope overhead German suplex. He does the full flip, Lance Hoyt, for this match.
I mean, I know exactly why this happens.
Why?
We get 3 minutes as our first match in 3 weeks. Let's do a big spot that maybe people will think about.
That's true.
It might get us on TV more.
It worked. JB finds Eric... Well, it works for Rude. Maybe not. That's not so much for Hoyt. Rude gets plenty of
The guy
TV
actually
time.
doing it.
Yeah, the guy who takes the bump gets nothing.
Ain't that the fucking truth?
JB finds Eric Young in the men's room with his shirt disheveled, lipstick on his face, and Eric's like, I think I liked it.
Nice. Fucking nice.
The next week...
There could be a great segment about this.
That might be coming up
There
soon.
could be my secret favorite TNA segment of all time about this.
JB is outside Jim's office. Eric Young appears. Eric's talking about a friend of his, a hypothetical friend. Is really putting pressure on him to have sex. JB is like, we talking about you? It's like, no. Hypothetical. Tracy walks up and says EY looks nice. Tracy says EY has until the end of next week to get what she asked for.
Which, honestly, incredible patience from one Tracy.
That's true.
There you go. The thing that could be solved in 12 minutes.
That's true.
She's like, listen, I know this is rough for you, to be quite frank. I know you're not exactly prepared, but get it sorted by next week when we meet up again as co-workers. And I can fuck your brains out.
Yes, and she wants to be safe about it, which is really respectful.
Yeah, but it is very responsible.
The next week, we go through the pay-per-view from here, I believe. I don't think we have anything on the go-home show about Eric.
Are you shocked?
Tracy Brooks. I know. It's how do you leave that off the go-home show, bro? That's such an important story to really... Oh, no, there is one. Sorry. I color-coded it wrong. We're fine. JB is backstage with EY. He's got his protection. And then talks about how his breasts are tender. The implication, I believe, being he got the morning after pill instead of a condom.
And that he took it himself.
Yes, he did. That takes us to the pay-per-view, in which there is only a segment with Eric Young after Bob Backlund appears. Once again, one of those statements that we will explain in a moment when we get to Paparazzi Productions. But Bob stares at JB for a while until Eric Young pops up. JB says he was going to go shopping with EY, but JB's super busy because of the pay-per-view, Eric. What the fuck?
Eric, it's my fucking job, man. It's your job too, man.
Yeah, you work here. Why are you trying to leave work?
To get freaking laid.
Eric turns to Bob Backlund and says, I voted for you in 95. Then Bob says the election was in 2000. And then Bob stares at JB some more.
Awesome.
The best part of that is, like, they did the WWF angle in 95 where Bob was running for president. And then, like, Bob is like, the election was in 2000. But, like, 2000 wasn't even the most recent election at this point. 2004 was. So... JB makes a reference to Bob Backlund's story, to which Bob Backlund makes a joke or response about how the election was actually 2000, even though the election was in 2004 and not... I'm confused.
The election, the real election, the one they don't tell you about.
Whoa.
was in 2000.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is where Bush got elected.
The one that I tell you about.
Yeah, they don't let you know about that George Bush one.
I don't want you to know about that one. I don't want you to know about that one.
And that is our developments on EY and Tracy and Rude for now.
I have another talking point.
Hit me.
Who is the most spiritually TNA wrestler to never work in TNA?
Interesting.
Because I had a thought.
Mm.
My initial reaction was the world's greatest tag team.
Yeah, and those are two guys who felt like they should have at some point. Mm. Like, no offense to Ring of Honor, but how the fuck did they end up in Ring of Honor instead of TNA?
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially the company that has Kurt Angle.
Maybe just Sheldon wanted to get to New Japan.
He wanted to do real wrestling instead of bullshit. They had frankly enough of doing bullshit.
Yeah, maybe they wanted to wrestle.
You know who's the first person that came to mind for me? It's a very current pick. Mason Madden. I feel like he would have been a great Vince Russo muse.
I guess so. I don't know though.
Why don't you let us know, listeners?
Yeah, you let us know who the most spiritually TNA wrestler to never work TNA is.
Let us know on Discord or Twitter or whatever. Patreon comments. That's another place you can reach us.
Patreon DMs.
Which I occasionally actually check.
YouTube comments.
We do see those too.
PayPal us money and then have it written in.
You can actually, if you go to the merch shop, you can leave a message as you buy merch. So, listen.
When you buy your AMW shirt, that's when you leave a message and you say who.
That's true. And there's some people who have been kind enough to give, like, you can give extra donations on top, and there's some people who have done that too, which has been very kind of them.
Cool. Good for them.
I know, they're already giving us money buying the shirt, and they threw some money on top.
You don't have to do that.
It's appreciated. You can just get the shirt for what I think is pretty fair value relative to shirts on the market these days. That brings us to the tag division, starting with another end of an era moment, another, as we talked about at the start of the show, a defining era shift in TNA history. It is the end of America's Most Wanted.
I find the defendants guilty.
Yeah, after all this time, after being around since week 2, I guess, as a team in TNA. Week 1, they were both on the first show. But together for the entirety of the 4.5 years of TNA we watched, this episode of Impact, the December 14th, 2006 episode, features the final America's Most Wanted tag team match in TNA history.
From AMW versus the Rainbow Express.
Yep.
To this. We have gone the full limit, the full gamut of their career now.
I'm almost in a state of mourning because it's been very nice through this podcast to just go like have AMW as a regular weekly presence in my life again. Maybe not quite weekly as the shows went on, but the regular presence of just having AMW as a feature in my life, watching America's Most Wanted, even in this last year of TNA where it does feel like they've run out of steam and run out of teams to work with. But even then, just like hearing the music and seeing them come out with Gale, and it's like, oh, it's AMW, and they'll be together forever. And then you're like, nope, it's done. It's over.
Well, also just them being like the best part of bad shows is kind of like that going away sucks.
Yeah, for a long time you could rely on an AMW match to deliver, especially in like the dregs of like the Asylum days and some of those bad pay-per-views. You'd like, at least you have AMW against Chris Sabin and Sanjay Dutt.
The interesting thing now is going to be for me, like, I'm now making that mental comparison to like from Beer Money to them. It's going to be like the most interesting part for me as someone who obviously had seen like 90-1 like the other way around growing up. So recontextualizing a whole nother James Storm tag team through the eyes of AMW is going to be interesting.
Yeah, now being like, oh, you know, I liked Beer Money, but Robert Roode is no Chris Harris. The drinking while investing is no death sentence. Jackie is no Gale.
Yeah, they really did just run it back, huh?
Yeah, well, listen, if it works, it works. And if you have nothing to do with people, tag team.
Yeah.
But on that episode of Impact, we get a package on the history of AMW and LAX. If you remember at the pay-per-view, there was the whole angle where Storm hit Harris in the eye and then blamed Harris for losing. And then they were like, the worst thing that could ever happen in the world happened. The Mexican anthem was played. And it was all Chris Harris's fault. So Storm gave him an ultimatum to sort his shit out by Impact. And the way that apparently works is they are challenging once again tonight for the NWA World Tag Team titles against LAX. But if they lose, they must disband.
I mean, that's actually a good little bit of booking, I feel. Because, like, why else would they get another shot?
Yeah.
They really need to put, like, fucking everything on the line.
Because they've lost to Styles and Daniels a couple of times, and then they lost to LAX a couple of times. So they've been perennial losers in tag team title matches.
I would like to know which one of the two of them offered up the tag team.
Oh, well, in my headcanon, they don't confirm this, but the way the match plays out, Storm does not try and win the match.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, like, did Harris put it up and that's, like, the final straw for Storm? Where he's like, fuck you, man. First of all, you hate America, and now you hate America's Most Wanted?
Yeah, or is Storm putting it up because he wants the team to end and he will end it himself?
I don't know.
They don't state. They just, because the match is made coming into the episode, and I assume it's made on the internet or something. It's announced somewhere, but...
I wonder how many people thought they were actually going to break up here, if they were going to, like, double swerve it.
I feel like most people probably recognized that they've done this tease once or twice before, and like AMW came through it good. Like they did the first one in 2003 when they did the sex tease. Then it turned out Chris Harris liked AMW more than sex. But then you did like another miscommunication stuff here and there in like the middle of 2005, and then but they did turn heel, which gave them another year together. And I think people probably recognize 4.5 years together as a team, especially in modern wrestling, is relatively unheard of at this point. There's not a lot of teams that have that kind of longevity. So people were probably like, it's time to break up.
Especially in like 2005.
Yeah, when you think, what teams have been around in 2006 that have been around consistently? And the answer is the Dudleys, but even they broke up and one went heel, one went babyface for a while. And the Hardys, but even they broke up and one went heel and one went babyface for a while. So I'm trying to think, is there anybody... The Briscoes, it would be another one, but they're shortly back from hiatus at this point. Well, maybe a little longer than shortly, but even they weren't around for the best part of a year. So AMW have been probably the most consistent tag team in America at this point.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else in those early 2000s, especially sort of at that level.
Yeah,
to be still sticking around with it.
So, but they probably did recognize like the team is kind of running on fumes, and like realistically, they're two singles guys. Two guys you at least want to try out as singles guys and see how they go. And obviously, Harris has always been pegged as like a top guy. So
we'll see how that works out.
So in the show, they do face LAX for the NWA World Tag Team titles. The losing team disbands, as you said. Conan is trapped in a cage at ringside to prevent interference. It works in this case, so...
So he doesn't have as long arms.
That's true. He can't wrap himself... He's too, like, his kidney is failing and his hip needs replacing, so that's the only reason he couldn't actually get out.
He's like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna chill in the cage.
They start with some floor brawling. They get the heat on Harris. Storm gets the tag, but the ref doesn't see it. Then Storm comes in with a beer bottle. Homicide bails. Storm swivels the hips. Smashes Chris Harris right in the eye with the beer bottle. Gale is stunned. Homicide, like a little bitch, just slips in and pins him. He's like, ooh, okay. As AMW comes to an end, PD confronts Storm at the top of the ramp as we go to break. We come back from break with a recap of Storm killing Harris as PD shouts at Storm. I have problems with how they did it, and it's very current Vince Russo, but like from the time Storm hits him with the bottle to the break is maybe 30 seconds.
Just to really like let it sit in the moment, you know, that this is happening.
Yeah, like we do not spend time dwelling on the end of the longest tag team in TNA history so far at all. Storm hits him with the bottle, Homicide pins him, Mike and Don are shocked and Gale is shocked, PD's like, what the hell, and we're done, we're out. It is really fast, it is really jarring. I don't think it gives the credence and the weight deserved to the end of America's Most Wanted. Like, I don't really have a problem with, like, the actual idea of the thing, because, like, I think it makes sense that Storm would turn on him here. It makes more sense that he would turn on him here than he teaming with him, frankly, after the way the pay-per-view went. So him turning on him is fine, and the way he did it, where he hit him in the good eye, so now he's blinded in both eyes, I guess, after being hit in the eye with glass. Totally fine with that and all, but just... The Vince
I mean,
Russo
it should have
team-
just been the closing angle on the show so that people could like sit in it.
Yeah, I like that would actually be better. Yeah, if it was even if it was this fast, but the show went off the air, at least you'd be like sitting with the shock of it.
Yeah.
As opposed to you come back with some Christian Cage secret bullshit.
Nonsense.
Yeah. And you don't sit with the end of America's Most Wanted the way you should. But yeah, what is there to say about AMW? We have named the end of year award for tag teams after them. It is the AMW Tag Team of the Year and will be for the foreseeable future. They are the defining team in TNA history. The Triple X matches are some of the best matches in TNA history, particularly the 2 cage matches. But like you go through their library and you have like good matches against the Naturals, which is nigh on impossible, even though there's a million of them. You have good matches against Diamond and Swinger, good matches against the New Church from like the end of 02, start of 03. You have the Styles and Daniels matches. Yeah, you have the Team Canada match, which is like maybe
secretly maybe my favorite match of theirs.
Yeah, and I think maybe the most underrated match in TNA history. Like in terms of great matches that are talked about, that match does not get nearly enough love from Final Resolution 2005. Great heel act, great babyface act, very, very fun part of Planet Jarrett for the start of the Spike TV days, which I think is like I think they brought a ton of personality to that group, along with Eric Young and Alex Shelley. It's America's Most Wanted, one of the better tag teams ever, probably the best tag team in TNA history,
and also like a bunch of like one of the few people on this roster that even got like the respect due from like Dave in like a star rating perspective. Like the Triple X stuff, get like one of those matches getting the 4 3/4, 4.5 versus Rude and Young. Like for a company that just doesn't get the love and that respect from Dave, especially at this point, it is nice that like, you know, the best like critically acclaimed matches at this point are AMW.
Yeah, it's basically like AJ, Joe, and AMW are like the critical darlings of this era of TNA. And as I said, like it really is this month is a sea change where you go from a different AJ character and you're changing up the AMW. It does just feel like we are out of the growth stage. We have firmly left the Nashville days of TNA behind, and I think this is like the last remnant of the Nashville days still clinging on was AMW.
Which I think is why it's like AMW has like such a weird place in people's minds. Because like they do feel like a Nashville act.
Yeah, they feel like an asylum act that's clung on and frankly was as good as ever and I think proved themselves on national TV. But they do feel like that holdover from the asylum era. And like as I said, they're kind of the only ones because even AJ now is not the same guy AJ wasn't at the end of the
hasn't
asylum.
Been for a while.
Yeah, so AMW are kind of the only act. And fair enough, they're not quite the same act either because they're heels at the moment rather than they were babyfaces for the whole time in the asylum. But it does feel like they're the final thing that was like connecting TNA to that era. And now we are firmly in the kind of growth boom Spike TV years as opposed to
mean, like, we don't even have Jarrett.
Yeah, he's not on TV.
So it's like, they really are the last sort of prevailing act. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the other tag teams of TNA's history stack up against them.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, as firmly in the camp that they're the greatest TNA tag team of all time. But, like, I'm willing for, the comparison points. And I'm excited to like compare what is to come against them
because we're in the midst of one of the other contenders, which is LAX. We will also have the Motor City Machine Guns. We will have Beer Money. Those are probably like the big four. You might make
I think
a case.
You could say Kaz and Daniels.
Yeah, maybe like a new LAX, but their run wasn't like that long. It was like 2 years.
But again, it's also a matter of like, you know, they will have had a lot more opportunities to have good matches because the style has changed. So it's like. Which I am not someone who's like I will give AMX like AMX AMW I mixed LAX and AMW together. I'm not gonna give them a plus because they were having like great matches in a worse era, but I am gonna like I'm gonna have like a direct comparison. You know, if a team has worked less but in a time period where better wrestling is more highly regarded, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna even out. You know, but you know, like they're the benchmark. They are going to be the benchmark moving forward. And I'm excited to see if, like, a Motor City Machine Guns, if a Beer Money is the most interesting one, obviously, because it's James Storm. But, like, you know, Hardys, Wolves, this is a big tag team company.
It is.
And I look forward to sort of, you know, having the pillars of the division and, like, just seeing who gets there or who doesn't. or if anyone does.
Yeah, even if you want to talk Lucha Bros or the North or ABC, there's a lot of teams through the history of this company.
Yeah, so that's going to be the most fun aspect, I think.
And to track Storm's rise as a single star and then fall back into a tag team and rise back as a single star, and sadly Harris's decline as a single star, and it doesn't work out for Harris, so it'll be interesting to look back on that and see how quickly they gave up on Chris Harris.
Yeah.
But yes, AMW have come to an end at the hands of that dastardly James Storm. So
don't worry, it'll come around to bite him in the ass many years later.
That's true. Somebody gets the karmic justice on him eventually.
And they do the exact same thing to him.
It is like history, it rhymes. Next show, we get a recap package on AMW. Mike Tenay has a sit-down interview with James Storm. James Storm says he was a team player, but that Harris, he was always out for himself. Storm was a survivor who had to work for everything he had, but Harris was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. As Tenay is like, well, AMW's history, and Storm says AMW isn't over until I look Harris in the eye and tell him what he thinks of him.
Well, that's not the stipulation, is it?
No.
I'd argue it is over, Storm.
Yeah. And listen, they do team together twice in TNA after this, but in a very, very long time, and never in a 2-on-2 tag. So
yeah,
it's only ever in a 10-man tag and an 8-man tag,
and some recent stuff.
That's what I mean. Those are the matches. They don't team again until 2022. So
I just meant outside of TNA.
Yeah, they are teaming together regularly, and they do team. They do a charity match in 2016 against everyone's favorite rivals, the Naturals.
We should watch that at some point.
Yeah, I think it's Andy Douglas's last match as well. Following week, there's a tag team match that we'll probably talk more about the match in the X Division section, but it is Chris Sabin and James Storm against Petey Williams and Christopher Daniels. James Storm comes out without Gale for the first time to his singles theme. So it's
a weird hybrid theme.
Yeah, it doesn't have this theme eventually gets lyrics. But it doesn't currently have the lyrics other than sorry about your damn luck, but it gets a full lyric version later, which I think it's a pretty good theme song. I think he did pretty well coming out of the split. I think he gets a better theme song than Harris gets.
It's no long necks and rednecks though.
Yeah, Beer Money might be the best theme song split of all time, because both of those guys got great themes coming out of that.
Yeah.
The next week, JB is interviewing Gail Kim about the demise of America's Most Wanted. Storm crashes the interview, pulls up a chair. Storm accuses her of talking behind his back on this nationally televised interview.
He's like, and also you're in the room.
Yeah, he's literally listening off screen. Storm points out TNA doesn't have a women's division. She was brought in by him and gives her 7 days to decide where her loyalties lie. And he also throws a bunch of weird Korean racism in there.
Yes. This is your friend, Dom.
Yeah, theoretically, she didn't do anything to you. There's this note from The Observer, which... Oh, Dave. They kept emphasizing how TNA doesn't have a women's division, so clearly the end of the story is they have a women's division. They can't afford the time for it at this point. They are also way behind the curve. Unfortunately, people have been, quote, womened to death. Nobody cares about seeing women wrestle as a novelty. If they are good, there is nothing wrong with them, but to do it for the sake of doing it isn't going to make any difference. Which
does it go back around into being woke?
Yeah.
Is it so far that it recircles into being woke?
I understand what Dave is trying to say, but the idea is people have been womened to death and no one wants to see them wrestle.
Nobody wants to see them wrestle unless they are good and treated as the men are, is what he means to say.
It is what he is effectively saying, but he does say this phrase, unfortunately people have been womened to death.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, it's funny saying it about TNA, the company that will, save women's wrestling in the US on TV.
And will actually do the thing he's asking for, which is treat it seriously and credibly.
Arguably more credibly than most of the men's stuff, which is all Russo down. Because Russo doesn't give a fuck, so it's just a division to itself.
And they also solve his other problem. They don't introduce the division until they have 2 hours. So
yeah,
which listen, I get what he means by they don't have time for it. There's a lot going on these shows.
Yeah, that is. I mean, it's true. It's I guess if your division is 2 people.
Yeah, at the moment, you have SoCal Val, who is just the ringside attendant. You have Tracy, who is a manager, and you have Gail, who is, to this point, a manager who desperately wants to wrestle. You have the introduction of one more, at the pay-per-view, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah.
The go-home Impact, we have that six-man tag we talked about, which is James Storm, Sabin, and Styles against Rhino, P.D. Williams, and Christopher Daniels. The note for this here is after the ultimatum was issued, Gail Kim does come out with James Storm. So she's back in, I guess, because there's no women's division. What else would she do?
Also, it's like, I mean, yeah, he brings about, like, do you want to be on TV? And
yeah.
Like, I guess, yeah. I would like my job still. And Chris Harris is dead.
Not entirely dead, because later in that show, JB has a sit-down interview with Harris. He says he's at risk of losing his vision after Storm hit him with the bottle. Doesn't know if he'll ever be backed. He's shocked that Storm would do this, despite the fact that he hit multiple people with bottles all the time.
Yeah, but like that's enemies of America.
He only ever hit enemies of America with a bottle, not a real American.
Well, if you ask Storm, he did hit an enemy of America.
That's true. He allowed Mexico. Storm was his brother, and they'll never be able to look back on America's Most Wanted again with a smile.
That's sad. That's a really sad sentence.
Yeah. It's like, no matter what, how good the good times were, they'll always be tinged by the thing James Storm did at the end.
It's a good line.
Yeah. At the pay-per-view, the natural follow-up is James Storm versus P.D. Williams.
A different tag team.
Oh, sorry. They have issues this month too, but we'll get to that. We get the AMW video package beforehand. Gale once again accompanies Storm to face PD. Storm escapes the Destroyer. Jackknifes PD, grabs the ropes for the win. Rudy starts asking Gale if Storm used the ropes, and Gale's like, maybe. Yeah, she doesn't like back her boy, basically. Storm jumps PD after the match. Gale stops him from using the beer bottle. She low blows Storm, gets the bottle for herself when Miss Jackie Moore, Jacqueline, arrives, drops Gale with a clothesline, and hits a death sentence on Gale with James Storm.
Jackie Moore's fucking awesome.
She's cool.
I'm so hyped that Jackie Moore's here.
Yeah, an interesting pairing as well. Jackie and James Storm, not exactly like two people to come to. I guess the southern connection, I guess, is like the idea.
The spiritually Texas connection.
Yeah, spiritually Texas connection. But it's a fun combo. And like Gale finally getting to actually wrestle somebody, finally getting someone like Jackie to actually sink her teeth into is great for Gale. And Jackie is just cool.
Yeah.
So she has debuted in TNA, aligning herself with James Storm. James Storm wants nothing to do with Gail Kim.
Oh, and by the way, if you want to pay your tribute to America's Most Wanted,
you can head to the link in our description where you can buy the America's Most Wanted t-shirt or poster. Check them out. You can commemorate. It's actually, I was thinking about it.
Commiserate.
Yeah, you can commiserate, yes, as well as commemorate. I don't think until now we've done an AMW poster, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. I mean, surely they've been, like, on a poster.
They've been in posters. So they were in the Lockdown 06 poster where they were on Team Jarrett. So they were on that one. And they technically, I think the silhouette of one of them was on the Turning Point 2004 poster, because that's the Skipper Cage walk. So the silhouette of one of them is on that. But we haven't dedicated a poster to AMW, which is kind of crazy to me.
I mean, yeah. It is kind of crazy.
Yeah, because we have produced 4.5 years worth of posters, a poster per episode, 12 episodes per year. So that's probably north of 50 posters. And AMW is not dedicated to one. Like think about the people like Mr. Perfect has a dedicated poster, but AMW hasn't.
Well, sign of the times.
But we do commemorate their split. So if you would like that poster or that shirt, head to the link in the description. And if you're a patron, you can save 10% with the code in the pinned post on Patreon. LAX spin-off from ending AMW forever into a tag team title feud against Team 3D.
From the best tag team to people I hate.
Yeah. So Team 3D show up on the December 21st Impact. They busted interview. JB is talking to Eric Young and they pop in afterwards. They talk about how they've been in Japan for the last month and they finally want revenge on the Naturals because the Naturals put them through a table like 7 years ago.
Yeah, and they really are still holding on to that.
So we get Team 3D versus the Naturals in a tables match. Only one person needs to go through a table for the win here because there's not time really for two. We do recap them, the Naturals putting 3D through a table. 3D demolish the Naturals here. The Naturals get very, very little as Bully powerbombs Andy Douglas through a table. After the match, franchise is like, I'm done. The experiment is over.
Yeah, and that's directly from the mouth of the booking committee.
That is, We will see him on Explosion, so Explozone at some point when I catch up with that. We'll talk about some Andy Douglas matches there. I believe this is the last time we will talk about Andy Douglas on Impact.
Oh, what a run.
We'll see some Chase in 2006 and then in like 2020. But we will not see any more, later in 2007 even, I remember what year we were in. We will not see any more Andy Douglas. This is it. I guess if you were to say, what's the one other last thing connecting to the Asylum days? You're like,
yeah, I suppose.
Maybe the Naturals. Nope, they're gone too.
We really are cleaning out.
We are getting rid of the fucking... And like Russo tried with the Naturals for a while, and when he had the book in like 2004, so clearly he's just like, I'm done with these guys, get them out of here.
Andy Douglas, of course, known for all of his big moments. But the thing I like to reference most is, of course, his role as Forest Hero Zombie in Dr. S Battle the Sex-Crazed Reefer Zombies the movie, released in 2009.
Whoa, he was in that?
Yep.
That's a big role. That's a big get. How did that not launch his career?
I don't know. He was also a production assistant on the Supernatural event.
Ooh, my man's had quite the career going for him. Now he's a chiropractor.
Yeah, he's all over the joint.
Though he will actually, I tell a lie, we will see Andy Douglas one more time.
I'll take back everything I said.
In the Bob Ryder Hall of Fame video package.
Oh.
At Bound for Glory 2024. One of the talking heads, out of nowhere, from his office, his chiropractic office, is Andy Douglas. So he will randomly pop up. Chase will randomly pop up and wrestle. He'll be in the Reverse Battle Royal as well at Slammiversary 2022. So we have some Chase Stevens to look forward to. We don't need to.
We could track down the Naturals competing on SmackDown in 2008.
Yeah.
Losing to the Big Show. Or Stevens wrestling Jack Swagger on ECW.
Sure.
Or Stevens wrestling Mike Knox on ECW.
Whoa.
And saved by Tommy Dreamer.
Wow. It all comes together. There is like the alternate universe where Chris Candido doesn't die, where like the Naturals become a real team.
I don't know if they do.
I think Candido's like charismatic enough to fill the void that they lack, though.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, they're just kind of boring.
That is a problem, but I also think like Candido fit better with them as an act than Jimmy Hart or Shane Douglas ever did.
Yeah.
Though like the Shane Douglas stuff was okay. It was better than the Jimmy Hart stuff. The Jimmy Hart stuff was bad. Mm-hmm. The Shane Douglas stuff in a different era when you stop... Like if the Shane Douglas stuff happened in like 2004 when there's not Kurt Angle and Sting and Christian on the show, you know, when the standards are a little lower, maybe the Shane Douglas stuff would have worked, but like there's no time for the Naturals getting this shit anymore.
You know what? Fair play to them. They have one of the best tag finishes ever.
And someone should steal it.
Yeah.
How has everybody on Earth done a magic killer, but no one has stolen a natural disaster?
Yeah, that one should be taken.
Though there is one team that does it for a little while. Beer Money.
Holy shit, what a callback.
Yeah, they take the natural disaster for a little while. But yes, they get absolutely demolished by 3D here. Shane Douglas is like, we're done. And that is, I believe, the end of the Naturals, as we will see on screen. Interestingly, in 2007, in like the middle of the year, they do one of those random ass mobile polls where you can vote on a team that wrestles on the show. And I believe one of the options was the Naturals.
Wow.
They didn't win, but I believe they are. But they are mentioned. But yep, Team 3D absolutely killed them. Santa's here on this episode because it's the final episode before Christmas. So cool. Santa's coming out. He's giving out presents.
That's just it. Just leaving it there.
We're not going to follow up on the fact that Santa's here. Santa's comes out. LAX interrupts Santa. Conan gloats about beating America's Most Wanted last week. Conan has a shitty Christmas tree with him, and that symbolizes what their poor, starving Christmases were like. So Conan, he has beef with Santa because he didn't get his Miami Dolphins jersey. He says Santa can go to hell. Santa gets in the ring. Turns out Santa's brother Runt. Santa picks a fight with LAX, but gets border tossed. The babyface army makes the save. Not Team 3D, by the way. Fuck Brother Runt. Team 3D doesn't make the save. There's a babyface army led by EY with his fucking leg lamp.
Because EY thinks it's the real Santa.
That's true. He must, and he needs to give Santa the leg lamp gift.
Yes.
If Santa gets killed before he can give him his lamp, Santa won't realize he's a good boy and think he's naughty.
Don't like any of this.
The next week, Team 3D come to the ring. Bully said there's no tag teams left. Styles and Daniels broken up. America's Most Wanted are gone. So there's only LAX. Brother Runt, still dressed as Santa, comes out. He asks a very fair question.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah, where were you guys last week? Team 3D, they're mad because remember when they went away, they were like, one thing, don't get in fights. And then he's like, you want me to apologize for being a man?
Also, I'm a pro fucking wrestler. It's kind of the job description.
It is famous, and me especially, I am known for picking fights, especially with large men.
Yeah.
Bully gives him a sniff and accuses him of having a drinking problem. Runt spits his booze in Bully's face and jumps him. Bully puts him down with a clothesline and asks Devon to get a table. Devon's like, fuck no, he's our brother.
Yeah.
Bully goes to get it himself when LAX strike. Security intervene as we go to break. We come back and Runt attacks everybody with a chair. Then Bully powerbombs Runt through Homicide through a table.
That's kind of teamwork.
It is. That's like a form of reconciliation.
Especially for that family.
It does feel like a dysfunctional family. A family that uses violence rather than words. The following week, Santa himself, Brother Runt, faces Homicide in a street fight.
Which is just a cool match that has happened.
Yeah?
The fact that, like, that's one in the history books is, like, that's cool.
Spike Dudley versus Homicide.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this on the watch-along, but I feel like if that match happened in, like, 04 Ring of Honor, they would have had, like, a weirdly great bloodbath that everyone's like, you really got to check out that Spike Dudley Homicide match.
Yeah, or, like, some, like, IWA Mid-South match or some shit.
Some, like, sicko shit as opposed to 3 minutes on Impact. But as a 3-minute match on Impact, it is fun.
Yeah.
Mike today mentions here that it will be 3D versus LAX for the tag team titles at Final Resolution. Runt gets back body dropped on the ramp. The side of Runt's head is bleeding from a chair shot. Hernandez comes in. Border tosses Runt onto a ladder as Homicide scores the win. LAX look to attack after the match, but 3D make the save. They like their brother now, despite the fact that they beat him up last week.
Well, I think they're just here for the tag belts.
They want to hurt LAX. They don't want to help Runt. Go home show. Team 3D arrive in a tank of some kind and declare war on LAX, calling them a disgrace to flag, country, and titles.
Because it's an LAX feud, we have to do this.
Yeah, we do have to say that you're bad and we're American. Also, this whole VKM thing is about them declaring war with, like, tanks and shit. Do you think they're, like, mad that Team 3D are also showing up in tanks?
Well, it's the first thing I thought of. I was like, you're kind of biting off their shit, but also, fuck them, so who cares?
Literally on this episode, they're going to the Alamo to fight Shawn Michaels.
That definitely happens.
Maybe if they had the tank, they could have killed him.
That's the thing, they missed the tank.
Yeah.
They could have fired it at Titan Towers.
They could have. They could have taken it down. Team 3D are attacking LAX in the Impact Zone. Mike Tenay says the words, they sniper attacked Conan.
Which is intense.
Yes, they sniped him, bro. They took him out. It'll be a war at Final Resolution. Team 3D do a little promo after the match. They'll fight LAX at the pay-per-view, which they do. Final Resolution 2007. Before the match, JB has Team 3D. LAX took Runt out, so they took Conan out. They ask LAX what they can do without Conan. Like, the whole point of this promo, by the way, is that, like, LAX have never won without Conan, despite the fact that they fucking ended America's Most Wanted's careers with Conan locked in a cage like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but, you know...
I guess he was still there.
It also, like, that was an implosion more than their direct course of victory.
Maybe Conan is the guy that got in James Storm's ear. We don't know.
Conan's just shouting from the outside, "You're the Genetti!"
They want the NWA World Tag Team titles, and that's the one... Or they have the NWA World Tag Team titles, and that's the one that Team 3D are missing. So the match is bad.
Yeah.
It's very strangely structured and will make a little more sense when we talk about the note after the match. But Devon works nearly all of it.
Which is better. Because fuck Bully Ray.
Yeah.
And his busted ass show. And his busted ass wrestling.
Yeah. And there's shitty tweets.
Terrible promos. Dog shit look.
Yep.
Terrible self-importance issue. Etc., etc., etc.
You did come to the realization just how much you hate Bully Ray recently.
I really don't like him. I really do not like him. I can't say I hate him more than Road Dogg.
Yeah.
Because Road Dogg hasn't had, like, any good matches ever. And at least Bully has a couple. But, like, Man, I really hate him. I actively go away. Never want him on any show I'll ever watch.
For a dude who had a slightly above middle of the road career, he has such an inflated sense of self-importance.
Yeah, I think that's the main problem. The fact that he acts like a fucking shining beacon of everything, like he has some sort of obscene amount of pro wrestling knowledge that no one else could simply comprehend his ideas, you know?
Yeah, he's an understander of wrestling on a level that people who are much better than him at it aren't somehow.
Yeah. People that have drawn more money than him. Apparently fucking indie schlubs.
Yeah.
But because you got to say slurs in ECW, you're the best.
Yeah, and you have the one thing will give him a good finish.
Yeah, but so does everyone. The Natural Disasters have a good finish. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, and they're on a fucking pot. I don't think you see Andy Douglas telling me about how the kids don't know heat.
Exactly.
Bully is busted open somehow. 3D hits Homicide with the radio. 3D hits Homicide with the 3D as brother walks out, still dressed as Santa here in the middle of January. He hits a splash on Homicide, causing a DQ. Bully throws Runt out of the ring and they are mad. So LAX retain the NWA World Tag Team titles by DQ.
Neato.
There was some legit heat between LAX and Team 3D heading into Sunday's pay-per-view. It manifested itself with a Brother Ray not selling for LAX during most of the match, and at one point violently tossing Homicide like a ragdoll in the security railing at ringside several times. Homicide tagged out her to Hernandez afterwards, and looked pretty hot about what happened. After the match, Homicide walked past the gorilla position, looking upset. As Ring of Honor World Champion, which he is there at the moment, he has a reputation to uphold, not to mention general pride in being treated with respect by a fellow wrestler. And by the end of the night, he was telling people there was no big deal, and the next night at TV, LAX and Tier 3D were openly, cooperatively discussing their scheduled rematch on the TV tapings with no sign of heat, so it appeared they worked out their differences, whatever they were. After the pay-per-view, speculation among TNA sources about the pay-per-view match issues ranged from there being problems before perceived attitude issues between the teams when they were planning the match to Brother Ray trying to impress some friends and family who were in the crowd that night, including a reluctance to sell for somebody who is much smaller than him in Homicide.
You know what I think happened here?
Yeah.
I think Homicide confronted Bully Ray.
Yep.
And as the giant pussy that he is, he was like, okay, and they worked it out.
Because there is a note that apparently he actively tried to sell more for Homicide in particular in that rematch they do on TV. I think you're right.
Yeah. I think one of these two people is not scared of confrontation.
Especially when the other guy is Hernandez. So, if you're Homicide, you're being like, what the fuck, man? One, Homicide could take it by himself. But if you're there with Hernandez as well, very large man, he didn't pull that shit with Hernandez, did he?
Yeah.
Fucking bitch.
I think he may have confused Homicide for somebody else in that moment.
Yeah, it's like, that man is small, but I would not fight him. I would not fight him at all. But LAX are still your tag champs, and this feud will continue. We don't end the show anymore with them. Because we rightfully had some people being like, if we end the show on BKM every week, it's a fucking giant-ass bummer that ends the show on depression. So we have decided to end on paparazzi stuff now instead of BKM stuff. But unfortunately, we do still have to talk about it. And it's worse.
Really?
It's worse than it ever was.
Yeah.
Okay,
lock in.
Yeah, you got this, bro. I have faith.
Man, fuck these guys. Fuck their stupid ass segments, their boring ass segments. Fuck everything about it. Fuck that it has no payoff. Fuck that the crowd is already hates it and they don't want a part of it. It's so trashy, it's so second rate. These two fucking suck.
Get them.
I mean, seriously, who thought this shit was a good idea?
Vince Russo and or BG James and or Kip James.
The best thing BG James could have done for this company is actually fucking leave when he threatened to all these times.
Yeah. We would have a greater peace of mind if there was no BG on this show. And you know what? Sometimes I think we let Kip off the hook.
Yeah, no, we're not going to be letting Kip off the hook at the fucking end of it. But at least, Kip is a character, you know? I think Kip is doing this to do this. It is, this is the angle that he's pitching. BG, loves this shit and thinks it's good. And that's what I fucking can't stand for. The idea that you actually think this is good.
Yeah.
I think that Kip thinks this just sucks. but he's just doing it because what else is he gonna fucking do?
He'll take the payday.
Yeah, and it's like, but like BG thinks this is some like next level pro wrestling shit, and when actually it's like maybe the worst shit that it's ever been on TV.
It's up there. So we recap VKM's challenge to DX. They have the $1 million challenge to fight them. They talk about how Vince doesn't like this now, but he had no problem when it was happening in the 90s. There's a note that apparently WWE are sending them an almost daily string of legal letters about this shit. Which, honestly, that's small ball shit from Vince and WWE to actually, like, even dignify this with that level of response.
I mean, that's funny.
Because, like, if I were them, I'd be like, let them fucking swing at windmills. They're not doing anything. They look small and pathetic.
They also think terrible creative is good, so they're probably like, whoa, they're doing some stuff over there.
We have to shut that shit down. It'll take us down. They reiterate their $1 million challenge to Hickenbottom and Levesque. The next week, we get footage of them going to the live event in Knoxville that we talked about, I think, on last week's episode, or last month's episode, or what the last episode we did. Fans chant VKM. They do bits with mascots. Next week, we will see more. We do see more. They are once again still at the house show. It must be a very long event if it's taken a week. The people chant TNA. BG James says it wasn't funny when they put baby oil on the fat guy, so we see it every week on Impact. Does he watch the show?
That's the thing, that's like, you're burying your own fucking show too.
Mm-hmm. And he gets kids to bury DX, and then a random woman is like, hey, Kip, you might be the son of this child, who I assume is Colton.
Or it's just a bit.
I think it's a bit, but listen. The next week, VKM come out. They're in the building again. They're wearing some ponchos and sombreros.
This will be culturally sensitive.
BG says he doesn't trust Kip to cut a promo. Then Kip is like, hey, what about your little promo at the pay-per-view when you said some words that you weren't meant to say? And he's like, They have yet to receive a message from Vince. Kip has a megaphone because BG won't let him talk, so he shouts. They talk about their trip to the house show where Levesque waved at them. They plan to step their game up a notch because now they're focused on Hickenbottom. They were like, Hickenbottom, you don't do house shows. You only work Mondays, so you're probably sitting at home all week. So we're going to go to San Antonio, and we want to meet you at high noon on Wednesday at the Alamo, Hickenbottom.
They should have gone to his house.
They should have. If they doxed him, if they doxed Shawn Michaels, knocked on his front door, and
then we're turning around on this shit.
Yeah, that's like real shit. This is this fake shit. If you went to his house, that's the kind of shit I get behind. Go Home Impact, they're at the Alamo. Kip accidentally took them to Alamo Rent-A-Car by mistake. They look around for Shawn Michaels. They row a canoe. They're like, we can't find him. They declare victory and say they'll see us on Sunday.
That's it.
Yep. This is the worst.
That's the wrap up.
Like, this is actually the worst of them. Not because, like, it has the most offensive content, but I think it's the most pathetic.
That's the thing. Like, what do they think the fucking payoff is going to be?
Like, they flew to actual San Antonio just to, like, wander around and pretend Shawn Michaels isn't there. Like, what are you doing?
Like, that's the thing. Like, there's no creatively satisfying end to this. It's just these two fucking dork-ass fucking losers go to the place and then go, well, he didn't show up, we win.
Mm-hmm. This stuff was actually filmed on December 30th at the Alamo. Jerry Borash had tickets to Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz and had to cancel.
Beast.
Yeah. JV lost out in a good time because of this shit. So at the pay-per-view, because of course we get a pay-per-view segment devoted to this stuff, VKM come to the ring. BG says war is hell and it's hard to declare a victor, but they're here to declare victory over VKM and the WWE. They recap all of the things they have done without a response.
Again, that just makes you look like fucking insignificant losers. Don't you fucking get it, you morons? Mm-hmm. To be like, look at all the stuff we did that they ignored and moved on without us and made more money than us. Oh my god.
They also do the biggest bitch move yet, and they're like, Paul, we know you just tore your quad or whatever.
Fuck. Fuck.
We hate to see a guy go down. We wish you the best of luck from your injuries. I'm like, bro.
You should be like, rest in peace, pussy. You ain't us. You couldn't hack it in TNA, motherfucker.
And how do you not frame it as Triple H faking an injury to get out of facing VKM? How do you not do that?
Because they don't want to actually do it at all. They want to live in this fake version of some sort of confrontation.
Can't be like, oh, you pulled your quad, you fucking nerd. Happened again?
My window. So the neighbors don't hear me scream.
They take a shot at K-Fed pinning John Cena. Mentioned there were TNA chants on WWE TV during like a Rosie O'Donnell segment.
Again, good bit to bring up.
Moves on to the war Vince wages on all the wrestling fans all over the world because Vince insults their intelligence.
Unlike this.
Yeah, this is smart. This is like thinking man's wrestling. The crowd then does chant Raw sucks. He gets the crowd to chant that we're not going to take it as there's a new sheriff in town and it's TNA.
And then the Impact Zone gets womaned.
Yes, they do. The Impact Zone has already had enough women apparently because they don't like what happens next. Christy Hemme comes out and she talks about how they're always on about the history of DX and how they invaded and how they drove the tank, but China gets no credit. They mention no China. The crowd boo this. And she asks, is it just because she's a woman? She points out Lita has left the business, couldn't get out of it fast enough. Christy says she wants to wrestle too because she loves this business. The crowd chant, we want wrestling. I don't think the way Christy wants it, but I think Christy does a good job of responding to that because she's like, I do too.
Yeah, that's a good bit. Like, Christy's not too bad in this.
She does her best for what she's doing here.
Yeah. She's actually like delivers a good performance of like some pretty like terrible shit. Like, but again, like, this shit works if you're the babyface, but she's the heel.
Yep. So she comes out, she does this a passion promo about how she wants to see women get more respect in wrestling and how she wants to wrestle and how we should pay more tribute to those that came before her, like Chyna and Lita. And the crowd boo and they chant, we want wrestling. And as Christy says, women deserve respect, the crowd chant boring. So it doesn't quite go as you would want, but I think I feel like the place this came from is Christy is constantly whining. Whining is not the word I should use. Christy is constantly saying backstage,
petitioning.
Yes, she wants to wrestle rightfully, which is the reason I shouldn't use the word whining. She's constantly going on backstage about how she would like to wrestle. I assume Gail is doing the same. And these people are like, they perceive it as constant whining from Christy. So we'll send her out there and she could do this promo and then we'll bury her for it. Which is what happens.
I mean, it's the same thing of like Gail getting fucking buried about wanting to wrestle on every backstage promo thing too.
Yeah, it's like you get in your place as a manager. You don't wrestle. BG is initially sympathetic to Christie's statement about wanting to wrestle. He's like, you know what? Some of the things you said there, I agree with, but half the things you were saying are untrue. And I'm trying to like, what half? What half of the things she said are untrue there, BG?
I can't even think of anything.
Yeah, there's nothing other. He probably deny that China doesn't get her due because they're
like he's
assholes
probably
about
like
that.
from his perspective, he's probably like we give credit to China.
BG says not all guys are like this until Kip James
says, "Well, I am."
Yes, he's like, whoa, don't you speak for me. He calls Christy a slut and says she should go back to the strip club. Says girls are good for two things as BG grabs the mic to prevent him from saying what those two things are. Christy says he's right. Their bodies and putting men back in line. Slaps Kip as BG holds Kip back. So Christy Hemme, the heel, comes out and is like, women should wrestle, that would be cool. And then Kip James, the babyface, is like, shut up, slut.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. I will kill you. I will beat you up right now.
He wanted to. Not a great, not good. Bad wrestling.
Yeah. Like, even if you want to, like, get rid of, like, you know, the whole, like, horrific subtext of all of it, it's like, the crowd hates this, they want to see some wrestling.
But yeah, it's really interesting that, like, by the time you get to 2016 when WWE do their Women's Revolution, like, the audience are very much where WWE need them to be in terms of, like, the audience are pushing WWE to do that as opposed to WWE pushing the audience to accept that. Like, the audience want women's wrestling and WWE are, like, just about acquiescing to demands after a decade. As opposed to what happens here is, like, I don't think this audience really wants women's wrestling. They are all womened out.
But also the thing is, they're not actually advocating for it.
No.
Like, the whole point here is that Christy Hemme is a whiny, ungrateful woman who wants to wrestle. It isn't an active, like, showing people like, oh yeah, we should do it. Like they're not trying to convince the fans that women's wrestling is the opportune outcome of this feud.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like they're fighting for it. They're not. They're doing the opposite. They're actively dissuading the audience from accepting women's wrestling by doing this. So it's like you don't even give them that.
Yeah. Christy Hemme was said to be visibly distraught after her segment on the pay-per-view bombed. The crowd was hard on her and it affected her as this was her chance to show her range as a character. She had been itching to do more than those bumpers into commercial breaks, and she may have seen the crowd rejection of her speeches hurting her chances to get more TV time in the future. Because that's an important thing to point out. Like, they brought in a backstage interviewer rather than give Christy Hemme. That's like, Christy Hemme's doing nothing on these shows. She is literally, she's like, coming up next, Bobby Roode versus Rhino. That's all she does on the show.
Sting will be on the show later.
Yeah. It's because, like, she does nothing. They give her nothing.
Yeah.
And that is your VKM stuff for the month, as they will now feud with Christy Hemme. That brings us over to the X Division, starting with the X Division title match, which is Christopher Daniels versus Chris Sabin versus...
Which I guess is a thing that's happening.
Yeah, they're like build and feud and all of that are, I think, generous words for what's happening in the X Division this month. Well, actually, no, there's one all-timer thing happening in the X Division month, to be fair. But
well, yes, but I mean, like, for the actual title...
The title program is a continuation of the Turning Point program. If you'd remember, Jerry Lynn's been a real bitch to Chris Sabin and Chris Daniels. That's all you have to remember from Turning Point.
The baby face?
Someone, question mark, yes. December 14th, Impact, Petey Williams faces Christopher Daniels. We recap Jerry Lynn bitching at Sabin and Daniels at the pay-per-view.
That is the accurate description of what is happening.
Listen, that's the story. Third Degree Burns in stores now. Same with the 50 Greatest Moments DVD, which we actually watched a little bit of the other day.
Mm-hmm.
They wrestle for a while before Sabin comes out and grabs the X title. Lynn comes out and takes it from him. Daniels never actually saw Sabin, but sees Lynn with the title, so he enzigures Lynn thinking he's going to hit him with the belt. I think pretty rightfully, because Lynn's a bitch.
But also, like, yeah, fair enough in general, to be honest.
Yeah, just, shut that dude up. Even if he didn't do anything, I think he deserves to be kicked in the head.
Just because he's fucking annoying.
PD capitalizes on this and rolls up Daniels for the win. 2 weeks later, Sabin and Storm are in action against Petey Williams and Christopher Daniels.
Which, again, shows you how much is really going into this.
There's not much. Daniels and Storm have a little moment when they face off, as I realized. I was thinking, like, Daniels and Storm has, like, low-key been one of the defining feuds of TNA history. Like, they went from the Triple X and AMW stuff into the AMW and Styles and Daniels stuff. And I was like, oh, those two guys, they've really been going at it for a long time in this company.
Yeah, that's true.
But yes, we do have Gunstorm. We do have Sabin and Storm, who will become...
Not the Gunstorm I respect, though.
Oh, yes, you love Gunner.
I love Gunner.
You love him and everything he stands for.
I stand with him, god damn it. Let's such up some Gunner tweets.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm sure he's got some hitters.
You check his tweets while I check what he's been up to.
Okay, yeah, let's lock in on Jackson Riker.
Yeah, what's Gunner been up to? Alright, he doesn't seem to be wrestling much. Like, from his release, he's wrestled 9 matches, the last of which was in March 2024. So I think he's given up on this wrestling thing.
I'm trying to find his Twitter.
Has he deleted it?
Have his Instagram.
It's not on Cage Match. He might have deleted it.
Oh yeah, he retired 3 years ago.
Did he just say he's done?
I guess so.
Alright.
I think he may have deleted his Twitter.
That's fair. It was tweets that got him fired, wasn't it?
I'm trying to find them.
Wasn't he a Q guy?
I mean, yeah. Fucking look at him.
Well, and listen, in that company, but he like was too publicly weirdly a Q guy instead of just like converting the entire NXT locker room into becoming Q people.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, he was just trading like some like thank you for POTUS like right during like the fucking like BML stuff. BLM stuff.
That seems to add up. When was he let go? He was let go at the November 2021 is when he was let go, give or take. That was his last match anyway. Against Cedric Alexander on main event.
Seemingly has gotten himself off of every social media.
Seems wise.
Probably for the best.
I do appreciate when people just piss off.
Yeah.
They don't just fucking dig in and fight with people online every day. They're just like, all right, I'll just go have a normal life.
Sorry, he further spoke on the Wrestling for Faith podcast, though.
Oh, interesting. What did he say?
Let's see. So, he talked with Steen, and they were like, let's agree to disagree.
Sure.
He added there was one person who texted him to express that they did not feel it was the right time for him to send that tweet, and he disagreed but appreciated the individual for not going public.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's any interesting thing in here. Apparently he was meant to be in Retribution, which would have been really fucking crazy.
That's a little on the nose, isn't it?
Yeah. We gotta watch out, maybe watch this fucking Wrestling with Faith episode.
He's like, I can't be an Antifa.
Yeah.
Remember Antifa?
Yeah.
Remember when we did the whole moral panic around Antifa?
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore, do we?
No.
Funny.
They've moved on.
They'll just have to wait till a Democrat has power again when suddenly Antifa has been mobilized.
Yeah. He did call BLM a terrorist group. I mean, whatever. He's a big fat idiot who gives a shit.
Yeah. It's interesting to see like the Christian right at the moment hating the Pope.
Yeah.
It's really
He's
interesting.
woke. He's a woke Pope.
The Pope is like, please don't kill people. And they're like, nope, that's
Like,
not
wow.
our values. How dare you say that?
Oh, he's currently a cop. He retired in August 2023 to become a police officer.
Speaking of on the nose.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
Great. The real Gunstorm, Chris Sabin and James Storm.
Yeah! I take back every good thing I've ever said about Gunstorm.
They're facing Petey Williams and Chris Daniels here. We do some wrestling before Sabin goes out to get a steel chair. Jerry Lynn stops him from using it. Daniels dives on both Sabin and Lynn. The chaos allows Storm to hit Petey with the chair for the win. Lynn takes his shirt off and runs wild on Daniels and Sabin at ringside.
Destroy the opposition.
He does want to destroy the opposition now. He's back into destroying opposition.
He doesn't say it though, which really would have put this through to the next level.
It's a shame. We get a feature on Daniels, Lynn, and Sabin on the next show. Lynn doing the grizzled vet routine about how these guys didn't pay their dues. They didn't sleep on hotel floors. They got
Which, by the way,
handed to them.
he's saying about Christopher Daniels.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Even
Chris Sabin. Chris Sabin's not a guy who's
Sabin's definitely done this stuff too, but Daniels?
Yeah. Daniels, who slaved in those 90s indies for decades before anybody knew who he was.
Yeah.
And got some WCW TV job appearances. Woohoo! But the point being, they will face on the pay-per-view in a 3-way X Division title match. Jerry Lynn returning to action in TNA. The go-home show, Sabin and Daniels are on opposite sides of that 6-man tag.
Christopher Daniels, who has only been Jerry Lynn, who has only been working for 3 years longer than Christopher Daniels.
This young kid, Chris Daniels, he doesn't know nothing about this business. I have to teach him a lesson.
Jerry Lynn, who in 1989, his first year in pro wrestling, worked for the WWF.
He got on TV faster than anybody, huh?
That's what I'm saying.
Chris Sabin wouldn't work for the WWF until 2024.
Daniels didn't work for it until 1998.
That does bring us to the pay-per-view, in which Letitia has Jerry Lynn. Lynn is being an asshole. Surprise, surprise. Because Letitia's like, I am joined here by X Division pioneer Jerry Lynn. And Jerry Lynn is like, pioneer? Why do you say that? Am I about to die?
He's thinking I'm old? He's called me old? You think I'm going to fucking die any moment now? Fuck you.
You think I'm going to keel over of a heart attack in this match because I'm old? It's like, Jesus, she's giving you a compliment, bro. He says he can still dance with the best of them and then calls Sabin a punk. Chris Sabin defeats Jerry Lynn and Christopher Daniels to win the X Division title once again.
Okay.
This is Jerry's first match in TNA since the 2005 match against Sean Waltman. So it's been a little while since we've seen Jerry Lynn wrestle in TNA, though he's been on TV pretty consistently as a guy who nags X Division wrestlers.
And runs out to break up a fight, which I guess is what he does now.
The crowd do lightly chant, "You still got it," at him at one point. There's a Flatliner Bulldog Tower of Doom style spot that was pretty cool. Daniels hits the BME, but Lynn breaks it up. Lynn hits Daniels with the cradle pile driver, but Sabin rolls up Lynn to win the belt. Once again, Sabin, X Division champion. Winning the belt for the first time since he won it at Bound for Glory and then lost it a week later. This match is fine. These X Division matches at this point aren't the X Division matches. They're not your pause X Division matches. They're not bad, but they certainly don't have the juice that these X Division matches on pay-per-view used to have.
That's what we need to come back.
Well, yeah, Hoovy could have saved this. Hoovy could have dropped Jerry Lynn on his shoulder again, and it would have been really cool.
It would have brought it back, I think.
And dropped Sabin on his head. Hoovy has killed 2 of the people in this match in TNA.
Time to come back for the trilogy.
I wonder because Lynn had been wrestling pretty consistently outside of TNA. Because he did miss, I think, a portion of like 04-05 when he was getting shoulder surgery because Hoopy fucked him up. But like he was back and ready for like the last year and a half. He was working like the Hermie Sadler shows as well. So I wondered, were they just not interested in Jerry, or
maybe they kept telling him he was old and gave him a whole thing.
He's developed a complex about it.
Yeah.
Because, now that's become his entire character. But Chris Sabin is your new X Division champion. And we end the show on some prestige bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
The continuation of the Paparazzi Championship Series.
Let's fucking go.
December 14th Impact, we have Stage 2 push-ups. We had Stage 1, which was the elimination match from the last pay-per-view. Nash insists Lethal go first, and is it because I'm black? And he says yes.
Yeah, pretty much. That is it.
Aries has special equipment that Nash says is Bob Backlund authorized.
Yeah, he's got like little push-up bars.
Yeah. Do they help that much?
I don't know if they help. I think they just work out a different like muscle group.
Oh, they like cause you to like work your forearms or something?
Yeah.
Sanjay starts getting mad at this, and Nash is like, "Hey man, you're agitated. You on something?"
I like also it says it right there that they're Bob Backlund approved. Like written on the things.
Yes, it's written on the like. Listen, it's right there for anybody to see. Dot puts his butt in Star's face, but not Senshi's, as they
push up real good.
That's in my head forever. Nash pretends to be sympathetic to Sanjay's injury. It's like, hey man, you tore your shoulder recently. It's like, do however many you can. Sanjay's like, thanks man, it's really thoughtful of you. Before Nash slaps a sign on his back that says, I'm on steroids. Nash says they may kiss the winner, which will become a reoccurring theme in these segments.
And who won?
I don't remember who won. I didn't write down who won.
That's because they don't show you the fucking points every time.
Yeah. And listen, it doesn't really matter. But
yeah, where the points are made up.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, where the push-ups are made up and the points don't matter.
The next week we have event number 3, Pogo. Big fat oily guy demonstrates as Shelly just looks at him and says, "Look at that ass," as he bounces.
Mm-hmm.
Senshi declines the Pogo. What do you think he has against
and
Pogo?
And presumably to also look at his ass.
He does. He just wants to... Yeah, maybe they don't want to... Senshi doesn't want them to sexualize him. Lethal falls off, to which we declare no mulligans. And then we get the single line that is burned in my brain forever from this. Because Alex Shelley, as we established, has chlamydia from the drug testing before this. Shelley says the line, "Wouldn't it be an inspirational story if somebody with chlamydia won this event?"
It's true.
It is. It would be very motivational for everybody with chlamydia out there. Dot wears those Nike shoes that have like the springs in them.
Mm-hmm.
And the X Division guys are like, listen, that's cheating. You're playing Pogo here, spring shoes. Nash examines them and once again says they are Bob Backlund authorized. And as Sanjay wins, Nash wonders what Dot looks like in stirrups. It's a fair question. We all think about it.
Big sexy.
Oh, small sexy.
Mid sexy.
That's me. December 28th. Paparazzi Championship Series event number 4, Limbo.
Yeah?
Everybody chants juice as Sanjay goes, which seems quite rude at this point.
Nash tells Lethal, do it for us, the black guys.
Didn't Nash get in trouble recently for like weirdly racial comments? Who did he?
Yeah.
He was like, Javon's not black enough or something.
Oh, no, let me find out what it was.
What was the Kevin Nash black controversy?
Yeah. I don't want to read it.
Give me the vibe.
Yeah, he was just like... He was just criticizing the presentation and was like... Well, he said that you should more contemporary than urban. It's funny how I'm usually the only person who pays attention to the development of black talent.
Thanks, Kev.
And the first line, of course, of that tweet being, how often have you heard the term Uncle Tom?
Okay. He took these skits too seriously. He, in fact, thinks he's black.
And then he apologized. He's like, I apologize for using terms. It was in poor taste. It's extremely offensive. I just want to see talent being pushed in a direction that I disagree with.
Yeah. If you remember, we talked about that Nash PW Torch interview where he talks all about how he reads BET and he's in touch with the culture.
Yeah.
So, he might take his shit a little too seriously. Senshi jumps the bar in this competition of Limbo. Kevin Nash reiterates that is Bob Backlund authorized. That applies under Bob Backlund rules. And I'm beginning to think, for Bob Backlund is like a real stickler for rules. And yet everybody is applying some bullshit here and being told it is Bob Backlund authorized.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to think we're not actually asking Bob Backlund about this stuff.
No. He signed off on all of this.
Okay. That reassures me.
Yeah.
Nash says Lethal and Shelley will go at the same time in a Bob Backlund bob-off. Lethal wins. Nash once again kisses the winner. Nash goes in for a kiss. Lethal screams, and this gives Nash a hearty laugh.
He breaks so big here.
Yeah, this is the most I think I've ever seen a break on TV, where he's just like, he is cackling at this.
I just like them leaving it in.
Yeah, like that's what this is. Like, that's the reason TNA comedy works. It is like, there is a percentage of it that is improvisational that makes it good.
Yeah.
The next week, we go to musical chairs. PCS event number 5. Nash sings Amazing Grace on a megaphone. Lethal takes exception, and he asks, why sing that?
Like, why are you singing that song, motherfucker?
To which Nash replies, what's wrong with that song, Cracker? Which would get him banned from Twitch. Other songs include Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, and Adrenaline Rush. Nash stops, and Sanjay wins, but then Austin Starr is like, continue, and Nash continues, and then Austin Starr steals it.
Like he's tuning back up on the thing. He's like, adrenaline rush.
And Sanjay is screwed by the collusion. Go home show. The final event in the PCS is Texas Hold'em Poker. I forgot about the Shelley line. All right. Sanjay says he's never played poker. So Shelley says, you've been living under a rock? Or in India? Alex, sir. No!
2006, 7, whatever it is. 6, 7, yeah.
The winner of the final hand between Shelley and Senshi will be tied with Austin Starr. Senshi gets a king, Shelley gets an ace. I don't know that's how poker works. They were just drawing single cards.
Well, it would depend on what the flood is or whatever it's called.
So Shelley wins and ends on a 2020 tie with Austin Starr.
Somehow.
The points, they are very legitimate. Nash, he says we have to decide this at final resolution. So there will be a 10-minute time limit match with a panel of judges to decide the winner if they draw. And then Nash is like, hey, here's copies of The Punisher, The Longest Yard, and Grandma's Boy as parting gifts.
Could have had John Wick 1.
That's true, we were too early. I've also never heard of Grandma's Boy. It is a movie he's in. I don't know what it is, though.
It's a movie about grandma and a boy.
Is Nash the boy or the grandma?
Yeah.
Sure. Then we go to the pay-per-view. Final resolution. JB is Kevin Nash. His head judge is Bob Backlund.
Holy fucking shit, what a payoff.
He's actually here.
He's authorizing it.
That's true. That's Mr. Backlund to JB. Nash thinks they were up and down the road together. He lists all the cities, and Bob is like, I don't know what you're talking about. And Nash is like, must have been Scott Hall.
Easy to confuse the two.
They're two very similar men. I've always said it. You can also hear Dave Penzer hyping up the crowd before this, explaining the rules of the upcoming PCS Finals match. These two have a manic comic chemistry that, frankly, Nash does not understand Bob. And there's at least 2 or 3 times where Bob says something and Nash just doesn't know where to go with it.
Yeah, it's hard to trip Nash up. But he's like, what the fuck's happening?
Because Bob is so just out of nowhere in everything he says that Nash will try and do a bit with him and Bob will just go crazy. And Nash is like, I don't know what to do with you, bro. Nash wants to know if Bob is up for the challenge of judging this. Bob wants to know if they did their squats, did their Harvard step test, did their takedowns and reversals. Nash is like, well, we did musical chairs and we did pogo and we did a little limbo. And Bob thinks that'll be a rough night for Alex Shelley and Austin Starr.
Which again is fair.
Yeah. And then we get the EY part of that with Bob as well. We get a PCS recap and then we get the finals. Kevin Nash joins commentary. We're introduced to our 3 judges. We get Samoa Joe. They flew him out from the special tapes, the 2-sided ring.
I forgot about the 2-sided ring.
Big fat oily guy and Bob Backlund. Those are our 3.
It's very funny when there's a real moment of Bob Backlund sitting next to them both and being like, what the fuck is happening?
Because Bob is watching incredibly intently.
Oh, I believe he's taking shoot notes.
Yeah, I think Bob takes this deathly seriously. And then you have big fat oily guy and Samoa Joe there. Shelley has his like 50-50 dyed hair and his nice silver gear. He looks cool.
Oh, dude, he looks $1,000,000 here.
Nash and Tenay reminisce about Nash beating Backlund for the WWE title, and they have very different memories of it. Oily Guy is eating and oils himself. Bob takes comprehensive notes. Aries writes positive things in Samoa Joe's notebook for himself.
Which, as we will find out later, pays off.
It does have a swinging effect. The match goes to a time limit draw with Aries in control at the end.
But to be important, like fucking Shelley was dominating throughout.
It was Shelley's match. JB collects the judges' scorecards. Samoa Joe rules in favor of Austin Starr. You would have to question whether that was his autonomous decision or Starr just ticks the boxes.
Yeah, but you know what? He was clapping for him.
Yeah, that's true. He did like Austin Starr.
I was going to say, I feel like he would have done it regardless.
I think Starr would do really well in a two-sided ring.
That's what I'm saying. It's time to bring him over.
Oily Guy rules in favor of Shelley.
That makes sense.
Bob Backlund then gets in the ring and outlines his extensive scoring rubric.
Yep.
First, conditioning, to which he gives Alex Shelley 95 and Austin Starr 92. Mm-hmm. Second, takedowns in the proper form, balance, and positions, to which Alex Shelley gets 95, Austin Starr gets 82. So big wash there.
Which makes sense.
Body positions, Shelley, Bob calls him Shelton, 85, Starr 90.
It's a great response, like great facial expression when Shelley gets called Shelton.
Mm-hmm. Alex Shelton, he's my favorite. Pinning combinations, Shelley 9, Starr 10. Which is understandable. Neither of them pinned any of them.
Yeah, fair. That's why the score is so low out of 100.
And the John Cena classic rubric, did they entertain the fans? Alex Shelley 25, Austin Starr 25. It's a draw. Though if you count the total points, Shelley got more points.
Yeah, but he wasn't. It was a round-by-round basis.
Yeah, if you won a round, you get 1 point, I presume. Nash decides the only way to decide this is sudden death. Shelley gets a very quick pin to win the PCS. The other competitors raise Shelley on their shoulders. Starr loses it on Nash after he lost, and Nash pushes him over. Senshi holds him back. Starr says he didn't come to TNA to play games or resurrect Nash's career. The only person in the ring here he respects is Senshi.
And Senshi's like, what the fuck?
I don't fuck with you, bro. You want? I'm not on your side with this.
He's like, he seems genuinely confused by the whole thing.
Yeah, he's like, what part of our relationship made you think I'd like you? It's like, I don't fuck with these X Division games that much, but also, you're annoying.
Yeah.
He asks Senshi to leave with him. Senshi doesn't, so Starr repeats it in warrior tone. He asks, will you leave with me?
Will you leave with me?
Starr slaps him and they brawl. Aries faces off with Backlund as he leaves and gets stuck in a cross-faced chicken wing for his troubles.
So, like, it's funny, you think this whole thing would be building to, like, Aries winning and, like, Shelley getting screwed by Nash, but, like, Nash was just like, fuck you, man.
Yeah, it's like, I like my boy Shelley, and you're a jerk, and now you'll feud with Loki.
Yeah.
There are 2 notes coming out of this. The first from the backstage interview. Bob Backlund threatened to walk out of the building when Kevin Nash made a reference to 2 visiting doctors while implying they were trying to get extra pills for recreational use. The segment was retaped with Nash revising his sarcasm.
Yeah, fair.
Which actually might be part of why Nash didn't know how to respond. He's like...
Because he's like, this guy's fucking insane.
And I can't do any of my bits with him. He'll get mad.
Yeah. My bits are too fucking real.
And Samoa Joe is a former manager who worked on Explosion during the Nashville days called Eddie G. He's BG James' friend from Pensacola and a gopher type, says Dave. I don't know what that means. On the Nashville shows, I guess like a guy who would get stuff for people? I don't know.
A gopher type meaning... An informal, often junior employee or assistant whose primary job is running errands, fetching items, and performing miscellaneous menial tasks.
Fair enough. That's what I could work out by context clues. He had, on the Nashville shows, he had worked as a cheerleader in a rainbow wig. He was always called the controversial Eddie G. If you've listened to some Explozone episodes, we've talked about Eddie G on those. So
was he controversial?
No, that's always why I was confused.
Tell me about him.
Well, he had a manager feud on Explosion.
Mm-hmm.
So there would be him and there would be Dave Prazak.
Okay. Dave Prazak's a good manager.
Yeah, they were doing like manager feuding on Explosion.
Who were they managing?
I don't remember. I'd have to go back and check.
Come on.
Because like they were, I think they were usually managing different people. It was basically whoever was on the show that week they would be managing.
Yeah. Whatever locals or people they flew in.
Yeah, so Eddie G and Dave Prazak would be like the managers and they'd be sniping at each other. So that's the PCS. It's very funny to watch back on. And like see the reaction of at the time where people were like, oh, this stupid bullshit. Why are they doing comedy skits?
And you're like, fuck you, that's the whole thing, man. That's the whole point.
It does stand up as some of the most celebrated comedy in wrestling history, never mind TNA.
Yeah. The other thing I came out of it was like, I wish there was more of it, you know?
Yeah, there are some extended editions on YouTube that you can go and watch for, I think the push-up contest has an extended version. Maybe some of the other ones. So there is a little bit more. But yeah, it's like, it's the kind of thing where if Impact was a longer show, you might get like 5-minute segments of this every week as opposed to like, these are all like 90 minutes, fast cut, lots of jokes.
90 minutes.
90 minutes, yes. The longer than an episode of Impact.
It should be the whole fucking show.
Yeah, it's not about 90 seconds long, all of them. And like, it kind of helps, like, it is literally just cutting together what they perceive to be the best bits from these sequences. So that probably helps it a little bit, that it's just all jokes. There's great joke density for these bits. There's a lot of jokes. But yeah, it's really good. I love how none of the X Division guys wrestle this month either.
Yeah, they're busy doing this.
Like, Lethal's not off doing random TV matches. Neither is like they're all locked in on their fucking events.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
They can't get distracted.
They're in an important tournament.
Sadly, there has never been another Paparazzi Championship Series.
We could bring it back.
That's true. We should bring it back.
He's a free agent now.
All these men might be in AEW in like 2 months.
Shelley should bring it back as him in the Nash role.
Yeah, with like Dante Martin and Action Andretti and
Nick Wayne,
Leo Rush as the demon Leo Rush or Blackheart Leo Rush.
Well, it depends. He's doing a split personality thing, so
both of them enter.
Yeah, both of them should be entering.
There's right material, and obviously get Nash in if you can.
Yeah,
why not? It would be cool. Yeah. That is the month that is January 2007. As we said, it's very much one of the bigger transition months we've had in a long time, as we were finally like moved away from the initial phase of TNA, and now we're in kind of like the top.
I feel like we're on the other end of it all now.
Yeah, but the TNA is no longer growing. It's like an established entity now.
Yeah.
And we'll get that era of established entity on Spike, the various eras of that, and then we will move into the fucking freefall era, and then the stability era, and then the return of TNA. I'm interested because like they just announced this week that they're doing a 3-part series for Dark Side of the Ring on Jeff Jarrett and TNA. I'm interested to see how they divide that up and what they give attention to.
My thing about it is like I don't think there's that much like salacious material, you know?
Yeah, there's not a lot of like actual like dark, like the two like are probably like the Jeff Hardy incident, and probably Jesse Sorensen.
Well, I think the first episode's gonna be about Jarrett.
That's true, and like Jarrett's gone through his fucking whole ordeal. Like there was
like him holding up Vince for the money.
Yeah, and like Jarrett's trials and tribulations, and like, listen, you could probably do a whole episode on the weirdness surrounding Karen, Jarrett, and Kurt and Jeff. Like, there's some stuff there probably.
I think that'll be the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what the angle they take on that is, and what their take on TNA is, and how much I will actually learn and or like it.
Yeah.
You can follow me on Twitter at Garrett and Liam, on Twitter at The Gleep Mood, the podcast on Twitter at TNA History Pod. You can subscribe to us on Patreon at tnachat.com, patreon.com/kiddingme, where you can get the watch along for this episode. We'll be wrapping up season 1 of Lucha Underground soon. We'll be doing Rain Takers. We'll be doing the draft and the end of year awards for 2006, which are always fun shows. All that's coming up on Patreon. You can head to the Birch store, where you can get the brand new America's Most Wanted t-shirt, as well as the roller shirts, including the PCS shirt from the Graph. That's up on the store. So if you love some PCS content, that Paparazzi Productions Graph shirt is up on the store, as well as a Styles Daniels Joe shirt, and many, many posters. If you would like any of the episode posters, they are pretty cool. Subscribe to us on YouTube at You've Got to Be Kidding Me, TikTok at TNA History. Thanks for listening, and bye-bye.
Do damn thing.
Hi, I'm Andrew Rich. And if you're like me, you look at the state of modern wrestling discourse and think, wow, what a cesspool. That's why I'm here to tell you about Music of the Mat Remix. That's right, your favorite wrestling music podcast is back with a new format, where I bring on a guest and we play songs related to wrestling-themed topics. It could be a wrestling reference, a wrestling concept, a wrestling pun, things of that nature. Now you might be saying, Andrew, that is a very, very tenuous connection to pro wrestling on a wrestling podcast network. Is this just an excuse to hang out with your friends and talk about music and ignore the rest of the wrestling landscape? Yes. Yes, it is. So listen to Music of the Mat Remix on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, available on Apple, Spotify, or your podcast player of choice.